Chronicles of the Rise of a Cultivation Family. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151, Battle Against the Extreme Wind Beast. The floating flower is a spiritual medicine with wind attributes. When it enters the mature stage, it will slowly form a wind column with a radius of about 3 feet around itself, with itself as the center. The wind column will slowly spread outward, forming a strong wind. The floating flower uses this wind column to absorb the surrounding wind attribute spiritual energy and also to protect itself. As time goes by, as the floating flower grows longer and longer, the grade will slowly improve and the wind column will become larger and larger. Yun Yongzhu recalled the 5-color treasure hunting butterfly and put it into the spiritual beast bag. Then he said to Ning Horan, "Brother Ning, when we go up, I will pick the floating flowers and you will protect me." "Okay." Ning Horan couldn't ask for it. The two of them went straight to the floating flowers on the top of the valley. In less than a quarter of an hour, the two of them arrived at the floating flower medicinal field. The two observed for a while and found no trace of the guardian monster. "Brother Ning, I'm starting. You help me pay attention." After Yun Yongzhu gave the instructions, he took another first grade upper grade wind fixing talisman for himself. Then he walked towards the floating flower with the most spiritual power. This was a 3rd level low grade floating flower, surrounded by a huge wind column with a diameter of more than 3 meters. Yun Yongzhu carefully stepped into the wind column and suddenly felt a tearing pain in half of his body. He ignored the pain and continued to lift his back foot in. When his whole body entered the wind column, the high-speed rotating wind spiritual power in the wind column slowly calmed down. After nearly a quarter of an hour, the strong wind column formed by this 3rd level low-grade floating flower dissipated, and Yun Yongzhu relaxed. He muttered in his heart that he was still not well prepared. If there was a wind-fixing bead, he wouldn't have to go through so much trouble and suffer this pain. The floating flower was crystal clear light blue, and its flower shape was a trumpet-shaped flower facing the sky. Yun Yongzhu could see a small tornado in the center of the floating flower. Yun Yongzhu took out a jade dagger. He lowered his head and was about to attack the flower path of the 3rd level floating flower when he heard Ning Horan's warning. "Be careful. Extreme wind beast." Yun Yongzhu's reaction speed was very fast. Just after Ning Horan said the word "be careful," he instinctively dodged to the side and avoided the fatal attack of the monster that suddenly appeared behind him. Then he immediately took out a 1st level top grade earth wall talisman and activated it. A wall of earth more than 10 feet long and wide and 5 or 6 inches thick rose up in front of Yun Yongzhu in an instant. After Yun Yongzhu prepared for defense, he looked up and found that it was a monster that looked very much like a spirit fox, but its body was about twice as big as a spirit fox and its whole body was snow white. "Brother Yang, don't be stunned. Kill them quickly." "Them?" Yun Yongzhu was startled and looked around, only to find that more than a dozen extreme wind beasts of different sizes emerged from the surrounding bushes. He glanced at Ning Horan, who was already fighting with 5 1st level middle grade extreme wind beasts. Fortunately, all these extreme wind beasts were only 1st level middle and lower grade monsters. Yun Yongzhu leaned against the defensive earth wall formed by the earth wall talisman, took out the fire snake sword, pinched out the object control technique, and stabbed at the extreme wind beasts that besieged him. Unfortunately, although the grade of the extreme wind beasts was not high, their speed was extremely fast. Yun Yongzhu's fire snake sword could not succeed, and the number of extreme wind beasts increased, and it felt like ants biting elephants to death. He took back the fire snake sword, held it in his hand, and used the Luo Yan step, dodging the claws of the extreme wind beasts, while slashing like a mortal warrior. Luo Yan step's body movement was very fast, and Yun Yongzhu's method worked quickly, directly killing 2 1st level lower grade extreme wind beasts. Yun Yongzhu had just finished dealing with the 4th extreme wind beast when Ning Horan came to his side and used the sword technique to help him. The two worked together and soon cleared out all the extreme wind beasts. Before the two of them could relax, they heard 2 angry beast cries from afar. Squeak squeak. In a flash, a slightly larger extreme wind beast appeared in front of them. Yun Yongzhu secretly said in his heart, this is a second level low grade extreme wind beast. The extreme wind beast looked at the corpses of extreme wind beasts on the ground, cried out shrilly, and ejected a fist-sized transparent spiritual power ball from its mouth. Be careful. Yun Yongzhu and Ning Horan dodged to the sides respectively, but unfortunately, the wind ball was not a normal wind bullet technique or wind ball technique, but a second level spiritual technique, whirlwind technique. As soon as the transparent spiritual power ball left the mouth of the extreme wind beast, it instantly turned into a high-speed rotating sphere. According to Yun Yongzhu, it was a horizontal super tornado. The two dodged to no avail, and they were swept into the tornado in an instant. Fortunately, the wind-fixing charms on the two were still working, so although the gust was strong, after about half a quarter of an hour, the power of the hurricane slowed down, and the two took the opportunity to escape from the hurricane. Yun Yongzhu fell from the air with golden light in his eyes, but fortunately he reacted soon and quickly pinched out a cloud soaring technique spell to catch himself in time. Ning Horan's reaction was much better than Yun Yongzhu's. As soon as the power of the wind shooting technique slowed down, he flew out of the hurricane range. The extreme wind beast was angry when he saw that his magical power did not work. Squeak. It originally wanted to slowly torture the two-legged beasts who killed its own kind, but when it saw Yun Yongzhu and the others landed safely, it decided not to hold back. The extreme wind beast spit out another spell from its mouth, but it was no longer a gust of wind, but a huge wind blade. As soon as Yun Yongzhu landed, he immediately activated a first-level superior magic talisman to increase his movement speed, which also happened to avoid the wind blade attack cast by the extreme wind beast. But the magic talisman can only last for half a quarter of an hour, which is obviously not a long-term solution. Before Yun Yongzhu could come up with a countermeasure, Ning Horan's voice came to his ears. Brother Yang, go to the side first. Ning Horan took a pill and then cast a spell. His flying swords immediately increased from 1 to thousands, attacking the second level inferior extreme wind beast together with amazing power. Yun Yongzhu certainly did not listen to Ning Horan. His attack looked amazing, but it was not enough to kill this second level inferior monster. So he thought for a second and solemnly took out a jade box. In the jade box was the attack talisman given to him by his master Huang Chengsheng. Brother Ning, please delay for a while, I will support you immediately. It takes a certain amount of time to activate the talisman, and during this period, Ning Horan can only support it alone. Yun Yongzhu quickly took out the talisman with a small green sword in the box, and injected spiritual power into it. The Jiffin beast saw the talisman in Yun Yongzhu's hand, and felt the hidden threat in it. It wanted to stop Yun Yongzhu, but was stopped by Ning Horan. After about 5 minutes, more than 90% of Yun Yongzhu's spiritual power was injected into the talisman, and the talisman was finally fully activated. Yun Yongzhu threw the talisman in his hand, which was emitting a glowing treasure, at the Jiffin beast that attacked Ning Horan. After the talisman left his hand, it instantly turned into an emerald green spiritual sword. The spiritual sword shot towards the Jiffin beast's head at lightning speed. Before it could react, the spiritual sword pierced through its head, and then the Jiffin beast fell to the ground and died. After the spiritual sword performed its merit, it turned into a plain talisman again and slowly fell from the air. Yun Yongzhu was relieved by this, and hurried over to carefully catch this precious spiritual sword talisman, and put it into the jade box, and put it into the storage bag. When Ning Horan saw that the Jiffin beast was dead, he immediately couldn't hold on, and fell to the ground. Junior brother Ning, what's wrong with you? Yun Yongzhu hurried over and helped him up. No problem, just overdrawn my spiritual power. Seeing him take a high-grade key recovering pill and meditate on the spot, Yun Yongzhu immediately released the soul-devouring golden cicada to be on guard. Then he took out a high-grade key recovering pill and took it himself, and then took out the flags of the golden light array and the mysterious array and began to set up. While Yun Yongzhu quickly set up the flags, he recalled that Ning Horan had blocked the approach of the second level low-grade extreme wind beast alone before, and couldn't help but admire this outer disciple. He knew that if he were to deal with the second level low-grade extreme wind beast, he would definitely not be able to hold out for that long. Speaking of which, the use of this talisman is similar to that of an ordinary talisman, both of which are activated by spiritual power and guided by spiritual consciousness. The time and spiritual power required to activate the talisman are incomparable to those of the talisman. However, the power of the talisman is also very great. Yun Yongzhu feels that his spiritual sword talisman can deal with a second level high grade monster or a cultivator in the late stage of foundation building. After about half an hour, the two formations were finally set up. Yun Yongzhu finally felt relieved and meditated in the formation to recover his spiritual power. About 2 hours later, Ning Horan opened his eyes. Brother Yang, I'm much better now. There's no time to lose. Go and collect the floating flowers, or someone will take advantage of you. Chapter 150 To return to the sect. Kingshan sect, Yink Peak. Senior Yun, you are here to see Master ZHU again, but you are a little early this year. Please take a seat and have some tea. I will send a message to the inner sect. Yun Zuxuan has become accustomed to the polite and attentive attitude of the disciples of Yink Peak towards him, and he enjoys it very much. Although he is a cultivator in the foundation building stage, these key training disciples have the support of Kingshan sect, and they are respectful to him, but not afraid of him. Yun Zuxuan still remembers that when he first came to Kingshan sect, the outer disciples of Yink Peak ignored him and Yun Dachan. After the two said that they were relatives of the inner disciples, someone went to help them send a message to Yun Yongzhu. It was not until Yun Yongzhu became a disciple of Jinden Zenran that he was personally received by the deacon of Yink Peak every time he came to Kingshan sect. Biomio Peak is deep in Kingshan sect. After about 2 hours, Yun Zuxuan had finished 2 pots of spiritual tea, but Yun Yongzhu still did not come to pick him up. He suddenly felt strange. Is he refining the elixir? While he was daydreaming, the steward of Yink Peak came in with Wang Yiming. Senior Yun, you are here. I'm here to take you to Biomio Peak. Yun Zuxuan would come to Kingshan sect every once in a while, so of course he knew Wang Yiming, and was already quite familiar with him. Yiming boy, why are you here? Is Xiaojiu refining pills? No, Senior Yun, let's go back to Loan Hall, and tell us in detail. Yun Zuxuan then summoned his flying spiritual weapon, the black-sailed boat, and flew with Wang Yiming towards Biomio Peak. What did you say? Xiaojiu entered Zuanshan secret realm. Yun Zuxuan stood up in shock as soon as he sat down upon hearing the news. Are you telling the truth? Of course, and he has been in there for a month. Counting the days, senior brother Yun should be out by now. Seeing Wang Yiming nod, Yun Zuxuan's face became even uglier. As a small family affiliated with Kingshan sect, although he was not in the sect, he had heard a little about the Zuanshan secret realm, and the ancestor Yun Yi had left some records about this secret realm before his death. He didn't know the details, but he knew that Kingshan sect could obtain the elixir for refining the foundation building pill from the Zuanshan secret realm, but the competition inside was very fierce, and only 1 in 10 people could survive out of the secret realm. Thinking of this, Yun Zuxuan felt a little uneasy. With the help of Yun Yongzhu's elixir, Yunwu Mountain has developed very well in recent years. Although the family already has 2 first-level lower-grade alchemists, how can they compare with Yun Yongzhu? The family has improved, and it can also buy him elixirs for cultivation. Therefore, although he has been traveling back and forth between Kingshan sect and Yunwu Mountain in recent years, his cultivation has not fallen behind. Yun Zuxuan thought about it and realized that Yun Yongzhu could only enter the Zuanshan secret realm to obtain the foundation building pill. As Senior Huang's direct disciple, Xiaojiu was very fond of him. Senior Huang usually thought highly of him, and he didn't have to worry about the elixirs he needed for foundation building. Thinking about it this way, could it be for the foundation building elixirs for Xiao and Xiao's wife? He had to think so. Yun Zuxuan's original impression of Yun Yongzhu was that he was a junior with relatively good qualifications. Later, after getting to know him, he found that he was a junior with a strong character, outstanding talent, boldness, and enterprising spirit. Moreover, Yun Yongzhu also valued family and attached importance to feelings, especially family affection. In the past few years, Yun Zuxuan came to Kingshan sect several times. Yun Yongzhu always asked him to bring back a lot of elixirs for cultivation for Yun's father and mother. They were all top grade elixirs, and even precious marrow cleansing pills. As a result, Yun Dachan and his wife were promoted to the 9th level of key training in just 6 years. Yun Yongzhu was very worried. If Xiaojiu came out of Zuanshan secret realm safely, everyone would be happy. He had high expectations for Yun Yongzhu. With his alchemy skills and his master, Jinden Zenren, it might not be impossible for him to form a golden elixir. Yun Yongzhu was anxious, angry and worried when he thought that Yun Yongzhu had entered Zuanshan secret realm without asking for his opinion. He was really worried about Yun Yongzhu's safety, so he stayed in Piomio Peak and wanted to wait for Yun Yongzhu to come back. The inner disciples and direct disciples of Qingshan sect always have some privileges. Their relatives can stay in the sect for a period of time, and Ying Peak also keeps records of outsiders entering and leaving the sect. If the time is exceeded, someone will naturally come to urge them to leave. If you don't listen to the advice, the sect's criminal law hall and law enforcement hall will be in trouble. Yun Yongzhu thought that, since he was staying to wait for Yun Yongzhu to come back, he would visit Senior Huang to avoid being impolite. He could also ask about Xiaojiu's specific situation. After thinking about it, he went to the top of the peak and successfully met Huang Changsheng's wife Guana. Gudao, I just found out when I arrived at the sect today that Xiaojiu actually entered the Zuanshan secret realm. Tell me, he doesn't care about his own safety. Let's not talk about you. I only found out when the Zuanshan secret realm was about to open. Xiaojiu is sentimental and stubborn. His master heard that he had prepared for 5 years to enter the secret realm, so he agreed to let him in. Don't worry, Xiaojiu is blessed and will come out safely. It will probably be today or tomorrow. Yun Dao, you can stay in Xiaojiu's cave for the time being. Sorry for bothering me. Yun Yongzhu was about to say goodbye when he heard the cry of a big peng bird in the air outside Piomio Peak. It's Wu Yu, brother Sheng and Xiaojiu are back to the sect, Guana said with a trembling voice. She was actually a little worried about whether Yun Yongzhu had returned safely. If everything went well, she would soon enter the golden core stage. When Yun Yongzhu heard this, he immediately raised his head nervously. Soon, a black rock appeared in the sky above Piomio Peak, blocking out the sun. He looked carefully at Wu Yu's back and saw Yun Yongzhu's small figure in good condition. He couldn't help but feel relieved. Not long after, Yun Yongzhu and his disciple happily landed from the rock's back. Master's wife, my 25th great uncle. Yun Yongzhu saw Yun Yongzhu and was also there, and he secretly said badly. Seeing his stern face, he felt uneasy. Master's wife, when did my great uncle come? Yun Yongzhu walked behind Guana and asked in a low voice. This was unnecessary for him. After all, they were all cultivators. Even if he spoke in a low voice, Yun Yongzhu would still be able to hear him. Greetings, Senior Huang. Yun Yongzhu saw that Yun Yongzhu was safe and sound and put aside his worries, but the anger in his heart was rising. He ignored Yun Yongzhu and greeted Huang Changsheng. Friend Yun, you are here. Didn't Xiaojiu discuss the matter of going to Zuanshan secret realm with you? Several people sat down, and only Yun Yongzhu stood. Don't be angry. Xiaojiu came out safely. He made a great harvest this time, finding a 4th level high quality spiritual medicine. What? 4th level spiritual medicine? Yun Yongzhu and Guana were immediately shocked. You know, the 4th level spiritual medicine is a spiritual medicine that is effective for Yuan stage cultivators. Yun Yongzhu was very surprised. So, this foundation building pill was really obtained by Xiaojiu. Chapter 153 Secret Realm Encounter. Xiaojiu, tell your master's wife what 4th level spiritual medicine you picked. Yun Yongzhu also looked at him with great curiosity. 10,000 years illusion god flower. As the wife of a 3rd level upper grade alchemist, Guana had a relatively rich knowledge of spiritual medicines. When she heard Yun Yongzhu say the name of this spiritual medicine, she was very surprised. This is a main ingredient of the illusion god pill. The illusion god pill is a precious spiritual pill that can increase the soul of the Yuan ancestor. Although Yun Yongzhu had never heard of the name of the illusion god flower, he was also very surprised and happy to hear Guana say that this was a spiritual medicine that could be useful for Yuan cultivators. Xiaojiu, how did you get this precious illusion god flower? Yun Yongzhu then told him the truth about how he entered the underground cave and how he broke the illusion of the illusion god flower. Xiaojiu, if you encounter a 3rd level monster next time, you must run away as soon as possible. This time is really too dangerous. Guana warned him with concern, and Yun Yongzhu nodded repeatedly beside him. Although Yun Yongzhu was vague about the 3rd level divine wind eagle at the beginning, the three of them did not miss it. Disciple knows, master's wife. But to be honest, this divine wind eagle is my lucky star. If it weren't for it, how could I have entered that maze-like cave and then obtained this rare 4th level top grade spiritual medicine, the fantasy god flower? Thanks to your spiritual pet, the soul-eating golden cicada Xiaojin. Otherwise you would have spent this month in vain in that cave. If any monster or cultivator broke in during this period, I don't know if you can save your life. It's also because you have a deep opportunity. In all these years, the sect has only brought out 2 4th level spiritual medicines from the Zuanshan secret realm. Huang Chengsheng said with a smile. Master, I wonder how many foundation building pills can be rewarded with this 10,000-year-old fantasy god flower. After everyone left the Zuanshan secret realm, Master Lin and Master Wei collected all the spiritual medicines from everyone on the spot, and also used spiritual beasts to check everyone one by one to ensure that no one kept the spiritual medicine privately. At that time, Master Lin and Master Wei recorded the number of foundation building pills awarded to everyone. When the foundation building pills were refined, everyone could go to the alchemy hall to collect them at any time. The extra spiritual medicines that could not reward one foundation building pill were recorded on the spot. Yun Yongzhu was rewarded with 4 foundation building pills, and more than 3,000 sect points were added to his identity jade card, but this did not include the number of rewards for the magic god flower. He still remembered the surprised and happy expressions of Master Lin, Master Wei, and his master Huang Chengsheng when he took out the magic god flower. Of course, what surprised his master Huang Chengsheng even more was the 3rd level top grade spiritual medicine Crimson Cloud Grass that he handed in. At that time, the 3 giant masters did not say how many foundation building pills this precious 4th level spiritual medicine could get, but only recorded the magic god flower and said they would discuss it. When Yun Yongzhu heard Yun Yongzhu's question, he also looked at Huang Chengsheng expectantly. It's really hard to estimate. The first 2 times the 4th level spiritual medicine was brought out from the secret realm were more than 600 or 700 years ago. I was not even here at that time. It seems that not many foundation building pills were refined at that time, so only 2 foundation building pills and 20,000 sect points were awarded. Master, do you mean to see the number of foundation building pills? Yes, that should be the case. Yun Yongzhu knew that the alchemist who refined the foundation building pills this time was his master. He wanted to ask more questions, but Huang Chengsheng secretly sent a message to tell him not to ask any more. He was puzzled and looked at his 25th great uncle. Could it be that the number of foundation building pills could not be known by people outside the sect? Seeing this, Yun Yongzhu had to change the subject and talked about his experience in the Zuanshan secret realm. After picking the floating flowers, he and Ning Horan relied on the 5-color treasure hunting butterfly to find many spiritual medicines and fruits along the way. Although the 1st level ones were the majority, there were also many 2nd level and 3rd level ones. The crimson cloud grass was also found under the guidance of the treasure hunting butterfly. Because they found a lot of spiritual medicines, the 2 encountered many monsters, especially the 2nd level monsters, which were extremely difficult to deal with. At the beginning, the 2 had to fight for a long time until they were exhausted and their spiritual power was almost exhausted and they could barely deal with the 2nd level monsters. Almost every time, they risked their lives to get the precious spiritual medicine. Later, one of them attacked and the other defended and assisted. The cooperation became more and more tacit and they were able to deal with the 2nd level monsters calmly. The person who defended and assisted was of course Yun Yongzhu. Therefore, after leaving the secret realm, there were not many more than 3,000 talismans worth more than 12,000 spiritual stones on him. Even the 12 second level spiritual talismans that he had obtained in 5 years were used up by him, leaving only 1 second level inferior golden talisman and 1 second level inferior flame dragon talisman. Of course, they also encountered second level monsters with high martial arts values that could not be defeated. Neither of them was stubborn. Seeing that they could not deal with it, they had no choice but to give up the spiritual medicine guarded by the monster. In addition to the first and second level monsters, the two also brushed shoulders with the third level monster several times. Every time they spotted the figure of the third level monster, the two avoided it from a distance. It is worth mentioning that Yun Yongzhu later saw the figure of the third level divine wind eagle, but they did not have the courage to get close to the divine wind eagle. After about 25 days in the secret realm, all the disciples who entered the secret realm began to attack their fellow disciples at the same time. They were in perfect harmony, and killing people for treasures was common. Among the 4 foundation building pills awarded by Yun Yongzhu, 1 was obtained from his fellow disciples, and more than half of the more than 3,000 sect points were also obtained from his fellow disciples. They all came to him by themselves. Yun Yongzhu and his 2 friends did not rob others, but they could not stop others from robbing them, and then they were killed by them. Yun Yongzhu talked for a long time, detailing everything. When he finished talking about his trip to the secret realm, it was just noon, and Songpeng, the chief steward of Piomio Peak, served a table of spiritual food and spiritual meals in due time. Fellow Daoist Yun, come and have a simple meal with his master and his apprentice. It turned out that Guana had sent out a sound transmission note during this period, instructing Songpeng to prepare a spiritual meal, which was not only a welcome for Yun Zuxun, but also a welcome for Yun Yongzhu and his apprentice. Yun Yongzhu had no time to take care of the meal in this secret realm, so he used the Kigan pill to get rid of it. Seeing the spiritual meal on the table, his mouth was almost watering. Xiaojiu, what are you waiting for? Eat quickly. I guess you haven't had a good meal during this period. Although Yun Yongzhu was salivating, he waited until the 3 elders sat down and started eating before he started to put the spiritual rice into his mouth. Although he ate elegantly, he ate very quickly. Eat slowly, Xiaojiu, no one is snatching it from you. Guana said to Yun Yongzhu in a chastising tone, and put a glass of spiritual juice next to his rice bowl. Thank you, master's wife. Guana has been married to Huang Chengsheng for many years. Due to her cultivation, she has no children. She has always treated her husband's disciples as her own children. Yun Yongzhu, as the youngest, is naturally the most loved by this master's wife. The couple also gave Yun Zuxun special face, because they doted on Yun Yongzhu, otherwise they would not be so polite to him. This is also an important reason why Yun Zuxun took a fancy to Yun Yongzhu. After the meal, Huang Chengsheng and Yun Yongzhu said a few words, and the 4 of them separated. Xiaojiu, have a good rest. When you go back, come to your master's place in 3 days. Your master has something to say to you. Well, master's wife, I'm going back to Loyang Palace. Senior Huang, Madam Huang, goodbye. Chapter 154 Family Recent Situation 1. After the grandfather and grandson returned to Loyang Hall, Yun Zuxun began to scold Yun Yongzhu. Xiaojiu, I thought you had become more stable after the last incident, but I didn't expect you to be so reckless. Yun Zuxun was referring to the incident when Yun Yongzhu returned to the Yunzhao family alone 6 years ago. 25th great uncle, I cherish my life very much and will never act rashly. You still talk back. What if something happens in the Zuanshan secret realm? How should I tell your parents? And you are now at the 9th level of key training, just 1 step away from foundation building. With the support of your master, this is not an insurmountable barrier. Your adventure this time is really unnecessary. I know your purpose, but besides, Yunwu Mountain has just started to improve, and it is inseparable from your help. Don't you want to see the prosperity of the family? Yun Yongzhu didn't expect that Yun Zuxun would come to Qingshan sect early this year. He originally wanted to wait until he got the foundation building pill before telling Yun Zuxun about this matter. For the sake of the foundation building pill, he would not be blamed too much. 25th great uncle, tell me, if I told you, would you still let me enter Zuanshan's secret realm? Yun Yongzhu was speechless. Yun Yongzhu was too important to the family. No matter how much Yun Yongzhu said, he would never agree to it. Then you shouldn't have entered Zuanshan's secret realm without discussing it with me. At least let me know about it, so that I can be mentally prepared. Don't you know everything now? And I came out in one piece. The most important thing is that I have a big harvest this time, at least 6 foundation building pills. If the illusion flower can reward more foundation building pills, it will be more than just 6. As soon as Yun Yongzhu mentioned the foundation building pills, Yun Yongzhu lost all his temper. Those were 6 foundation building pills. He couldn't even imagine that this was true. So, 4 of the foundation building pills are already a certainty? Yes, there's still time. I'll just have to wait for a month until the foundation building pills are refined, and I can go to Danlian Peak to get them at any time. Yun Yongzhu was so happy that he was at a loss and walked back and forth in the yard. Xiaojiu, did you enter the secret realm for your parents this time? Well, since I have the ability to obtain the foundation building pills, I will certainly not miss this opportunity. Forget it this time, I won't say anything to you. As cultivators, we must seize every opportunity, but we must also do what we can. You are almost 30 years old, and you must think carefully before doing anything. Think about your parents and clansmen, and be sensible. No matter what, you must protect yourself. Yun Yongzhu turned into an old mother, fearing that Yun Yongzhu would act impulsively again and lose his life. Yun Yongzhu nodded repeatedly and felt that he had not considered this matter carefully. Then Yun Yongzhu began to tell Yun Yongzhu about the changes in the family. The most important thing in the family is population. Last year, more than 2,000 mortals were added. In the past 6 years, more than 13,000 people have been added. All the children born 5 years ago have been tested for their spiritual roots. A total of 2 people with spiritual roots have been found. There are about 5,000 people who have not yet reached the age of testing their spiritual roots. Because Yun Yongzhu's proposal was adopted, the family rewarded the parents of the 2 children with mixed spiritual roots with huge amounts of gold, silver and health-preserving elixirs. This also led the whole family to follow suit, and the family's population will grow faster and faster in the future. In addition, the cultivators in the family did not hold back. Some married and some took concubines. Even the elders of the family were a little distracted. For them, as long as they married a wife who was also a cultivator, the family would reward them with a lot of spiritual stones. If they gave birth to offspring with cultivation qualifications, the reward materials would be even more. If this trend continues, in another 10 or 20 years, the number of cultivators in the family will exceed 200. Yun Yongzhu was very happy. The family would prosper only if the population was prosperous. Their family ranks last among the foundation building families in Yunzhou because they have too few cultivators. Of course, the number of foundation building cultivators is also a flaw, but this is much more difficult than increasing the family population. But now it seems that there is great hope. After all, 4 foundation building pills have been confirmed. 25th great uncle, have you ever thought about finding a Taoist partner and marrying me, a great aunt? Little bastard, stop teasing me. Let's talk about serious matters. Here are 1,200 spiritual stones for the next 3 years, and some spiritual medicines. Take them. Yun Yongzhu pulled out a first level low grade storage bag from his waist, and Yun Yongzhu quickly put it away. Except for the first time, Yun Yongzhu now refines pills for the family at his own expense, nor does he open the furnace for free. Among the 1,200 spiritual stones, 600 of them are his hard work fee for opening the furnace, and the remaining 600 spiritual stones are the capital used to purchase alchemy materials. Yun Yongzhu usually refines key gathering pills, followed by key recovery pills, and other pills will only be refined in 1 or 2 furnaces. In order to save the cost of raw materials for alchemy, Yun Yongzhu specially found several families in Yunzhou to sign long-term supply agreements, and specially provided several spiritual medicines for Qijudan. He knew all the recipes of the elixirs that Yun Yongzhu could refine, and he would also pay attention to some precious spiritual medicines on weekdays, such as the 9-section bamboo fruit, the main ingredient of the Bisan Dan. If he came across it, he would certainly not let it go. In addition, he also found out the price difference of some spiritual medicines between Qingshan sect and Yunzhou, and would also buy some cheap ones in Yunzhou to bring to Yun Yongzhu. Of course, although Yun Zuxuan hoped that the family would grow and develop by relying on Yun Yongzhu's alchemy, he did not want to delay Yun Yongzhu's cultivation because of this. Therefore, he did not require Yun Yongzhu to refine the number of elixirs, and 10 bottles in 3 years would be enough. After all, the Yunwu Mountain is a family of refining instruments, and their main business is magic instruments. It is impossible for Yun Yongzhu, a junior, to support such a large family alone. Moreover, in the past 2 years, the yield rate of Yun Shui and Yun Daichen in refining Qijuden has also increased, which can bring a little profit to the family. Most of the middle and high quality elixirs refined by Yun Yongzhu will be collected by Yunwu Mountain and put into the clan treasury for clan members to exchange for cultivation. Only a small part of the middle and low quality elixirs will be sent to the family's various Yunxiao pavilion stores for sale. The key gathering elixirs refined by Yun Shui and Yun Daichen will also be sent down the mountain together with these low quality elixirs. My father can now refine middle quality key gathering elixirs? Yes, although the success rate is not very high, at least he has stepped into the threshold of a first level middle quality alchemist. Because there are many innovative measures in the family, the annual expenditure of spirit stones has also increased, almost doubling. But now the family has added 2 industries, spirit fruit wine and elixirs, and the profit is still more than before. In order to brew spirit fruit wine, Yun Zuxuan specially selected 2 members of the Shi generation in the family, built a spirit fruit wine shop on the 2nd level spirit vein on the mountain, and let them specialize in brewing. Because there are 4 ingredients in the recipe that are not known, and there are a few ingredients in small quantities, they can only visit other states to find them, so the amount of spiritual fruit wine brewed is not large. Yes, one of the 5 spiritual medicines that Yun Yongzhu did not know has now been found, and it is confirmed that it is just the change of time and the name has changed. Therefore, this Qingling brew was only sold in the shops in the main city of Yunzhou and the market of Yunwu town at the beginning. But as time goes by, the number of ingredients in the 5-element spiritual fruit wine formula collected by the Yun family increases, and the amount of spiritual fruit wine brewed has also increased. However, the majority of cultivators in Yunzhou are very dissatisfied with the Yun family's practice of only selling spiritual fruit wine in these 2 places. Many casual cultivators and family cultivators will make suggestions when buying. So a year ago, Yunwu Mountain sold Qingling Brew, a spiritual fruit wine, to 7 family stores in Yunzhou. Once this decision was implemented, it also brought rich profits to Yunwu Mountain. The spiritual fruit wine revenue in 1 year was more than 3 times that of previous years. In the eyes of most people, the cost of brewing spiritual fruit wine in Yunwu Mountain should be very high, and the profit is not much. But only Yun Zuxuan, Yun Yongzhu, Yun Daihao and clan leader Yun Shichen know how high the actual profit of this spiritual fruit wine is. Although the profit of a bottle of Qingling Brew is far less than the profit of magic weapon, the overall income is about half of the income of the magic weapon, and it is expected to become the 2nd pillar industry of the Yun Wuxian family. The original pillar industry of the family was refining, the 2nd industry was the mine, the 3rd industry was the spiritual medicine garden and the spiritual field, and finally the talisman and spiritual beast. The mine, spiritual field and spiritual medicine garden are considered fixed assets. There is no major change, and the income is relatively stable. The annual income of the talisman is relatively low due to the suppression of the Teohuashan Huang family, the talisman making family. It has only increased in recent years, which may be affected by Yun Yongzhu. As for the spiritual beast, the family only raises the spiritual cloud chicken and the redskin beast, but it takes a certain amount of time to raise these 2 spiritual beasts, and the number is not large. The annual income is not high. In general, among all the family's income, the refining skills, talisman making skills and the method of taming spiritual beasts may be lost, and the pill recipe, medicine recipe and spiritual fruit wine recipe may also be lost. But the mineral veins, spiritual medicine gardens and spiritual fields are real. These are the family's fixed assets. As long as the family's monks continue to exist, they can be passed down for a long time, and they will neither be lost nor damaged. Before, there was no condition. Now that the family has savings, of course they will consider increasing the area of the family's spiritual fields, increasing the number of spiritual medicines cultivated, and even expanding the spiritual medicine garden, etc. It's a pity that the family now has only 2 foundation building monks. My 9th brother and I dare not go to Kangshao and Lanzhou to sell spiritual fruit wine. Now all the shops in Yunwu Mountain are only manned by clan members in the late or middle stages of key training. The shops in Yunzhou are okay. With the deterrence of the family's foundation building monks, they can operate all the products of the family. Lanzhou and Kangshao only operate magic tools and talismans. Unfortunately, there are only 2 mid-level monks in the Yunwu Mountain family, and there are not many low-level monks. They have neither the strength nor the energy to specially send Kingling Brew to more distant states. Chapter 155 Family Recent Situation 2. 25th Great Uncle. The biggest problem at present is not the number of foundation building cultivators, but the number of key training cultivators available in the family. Without enough manpower, even if the family wants to expand the business, there is no one to arrange. Do we have to ask outsiders to manage the family business? Yun Yongzhu thought of the reward Yun Yongzhu received for entering the Zuanshan secret realm. Thinking that in 2 or 3 years, Yunwu Mountain might have 3 more foundation building clan members, he was very excited and happy. However, what Yun Yongzhu said was also a big problem. The family currently has 8 shops in Yunzhou and a Yongxiao pavilion in the main cities of Lanzhou and Kangshao, with a total of only 10 shops. These shops are all managed by their own clansmen. Each shop has at least 1 clan member sitting in charge, and usually 2 or 3 people work together. This is not only safer, but the clansmen in the shop can also practice in rotation. These shops together require about 30 clansmen to manage. In addition to the family shops, the 4 mineral veins also need clansmen with high cultivation to supervise and guard them. Although the miners are all mortals or casual cultivators in the early stages of key training, the mineral veins and the ores dug out are coveted resources in themselves, so naturally someone has to guard them. In addition, the family's spiritual fields and spiritual medicine gardens, as well as the raising of spiritual beasts, stocking the shops, etc., all require the manpower of cultivators. There are nearly 10 underage cultivators in the clan school who are still receiving basic cultivation knowledge. In this way, people who take care of spiritual rice and spiritual medicine, refine weapons, make talismans, guard the 4 mineral veins, manage the family shops, and guard the family territory are needed in all aspects. The more than 170 cultivators in the family alone can only barely be enough. If you want to expand the family business, there will not be enough manpower in the short term. It's too risky to expand the family business at this time. The family still needs to accumulate more capital. Let's do this for the next 2 years. We'll discuss this matter after you build your foundation. If it doesn't work out, we can find some independent cultivators with clean backgrounds and sign a contract with them. Well, we can only deal with it as it happens. Let's not talk about this. Let's talk about building the foundation. In Yunwu Mountain, there are only your parents who are under the age of 60 and have cultivated to the 9th level of key training. I mean to send them both to Qingshan sect and rent the 2nd level spiritual veins in the sect to assist them in building their foundation. I'll listen to you, my 25th great uncle. As long as his parents can successfully advance to the foundation building stage, Yun Yongzhu will be satisfied. He has no constructive opinions on where they build their foundation. In fact, it's not bad to come to Qingshan sect. Moreover, if his parents build their foundation in Qingshan sect, he can see them and know the news of his parents' successful foundation building earlier. There is a 2nd grade superior spiritual vein in Yunwu Mountain, which is very suitable for foundation building. However, the family is too far away from Qingshan sect. I'm worried that something will happen when I carry the foundation building bill. That would be a heavy loss. It is better to build the foundation in Qingshan sect. It turned out that the foundation building pill was too precious, and Yun Yongzhu was worried that he would encounter an accident on the road when transporting the foundation building pill. It doesn't matter if he gets into trouble, but if he loses the foundation building pill, he will go crazy. This is at least 2 foundation building pills. Oh, by the way, Xiaojiu, I also brought you 20 jars of first grade superior red dust drunk. You can use this to practice normally. Although the effect of this spiritual fruit wine is not as good as that of elixir, this wine does not have the harm of elixir poison. I know you have nothing to lack now, and this is the only thing you can show off. In 6 years, Yun Yongzhu selected 2 members of the Shi generation who specialized in brewing wine from the family and also developed a brewing recipe. Although these 2 people did not know the complete recipe of the 5-element spiritual fruit wine, it did not prevent them from using the existing ingredients to develop other spiritual fruit wines. This kind of red dust drunk was developed by them a year ago. Because of its mellow taste, it is widely welcomed by male cultivators. As for the grade of this wine, the family mainly determines it according to its efficacy. At present, there are only 4 kinds of spiritual fruit wine in Yunwu Mountain, namely Kingling Brew, Red Dust Drunk, Black Beauty and Peach Blossom Brew. Kingling Brew and Red Dust Drunk are both first grade top grade wines. Drinking 1 catty is equivalent to practicing for 10 days. Black Beauty is a first grade middle grade wine. Drinking 1 catty is equivalent to practicing for 7 days. As for Peach Blossom Brew, it is a first grade low grade wine. In fact, the main ingredient of this wine is not peach blossom, but red jade peach. This peach blossom wine tastes slightly sweet and has a long aroma. Many female cultivators like to buy it for cultivation. 1 catty of wine is equivalent to 3 days of cultivation. Because the price of peach blossom wine is cheaper, the sales volume is also higher, so Yunwu Mountain naturally brews more. Kingling Brew and Red Dust Drunk are only available in small quantities in every store in Yunzhou, and a part is reserved for family members to buy and exchange. This is your annual allowance of spiritual stones and spiritual rice last year. This is the clothes your mother asked me to bring you. This is a talisman given by Little 13, Yun Yongzhu. He drew it himself. Little 8, Yun Yongzhu, also brought you the talisman he drew, and there is also a letter from Yuana. The twins brought it to you. Yun Yongzhu looked at the full of gifts on the stone table, and his whole body was full of joy. Although these are not all precious things, this is what he wants, and what he cherishes. There is one more thing. The 9th brother has come out of retreat 2 years ago, and he has successfully advanced to the middle stage of foundation building. Speaking of this, Yun Yongzhu's tone was a little excited. Yun Yongzhu had never seen this 9th great uncle. When he was in the family, he was still young, and had no qualifications and reasons to disturb this elder. Later, when he entered the sect, this great uncle also retreated. Yun Yongzhu had long been curious about this 9th great uncle. He even secretly guessed in his heart whether this 9th great uncle had already passed away, so the family was so hasty to plan the foundation building for the 25th great uncle at that time. When we send your parents here next year, 9th brother will also come. You can meet him then. You haven't met him yet. Yes. After discussing family matters, the 2 went into their houses to rest. Yun Yongzhu only stayed in Yun Yongzhu's cave for 1 night before he could not wait to return to the family. Yun Yongzhu could guess what a shocked and joyful scene the family would have when the 25th great uncle returned to the family with the news of the foundation building pill. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156, The Secret of Foundation Building Pill. Yun Yongzhu rested well in the cave for 3 days, and then went to the cave of Master Huang Chengsheng, Biomianaju, on time. Master's wife. Xiaojiu, you came so early. Have you had breakfast? Come and have some more with us. Guana did not allow Yun Yongzhu to refuse at all, and directly pulled him to sit down. Have breakfast first. What I want to say is not a big deal. I will talk about it in detail after eating. Huang Chengsheng said so. Yun Yongzhu had to have breakfast again. After all, it was spiritual food, and he wanted to eat more. Master's wife, the spiritual food here is still more delicious. This spiritual cabbage tastes really good, and the spiritual power is also rich. Guana picked up a chopstick of spiritual cabbage for him with the public chopsticks. These are all spiritual vegetables watered with spiritual spring water, so they are naturally delicious. Eat more. If you like them, ask Songpeng to pick some for you, and bring them back to Loan Hall. It is not easy to grow spiritual vegetables. The requirements for spiritual fields are also high, and the yield is low. The key is that the spiritual power contained in the spiritual sap is thin, so few cultivators are willing to spend time and energy to grow them. The most important thing is that spiritual vegetables are very easy to breed pests. Once these insects are not controlled well, they will cause great harm to other spiritual medicines and plants. Yun Yongzhu used to wonder why it is difficult to find spiritual vegetable seeds in the world of cultivation. This is because of this. If Huang Chengsheng was not a giant and Zenran, he would not be able to grow spiritual vegetables easily. The three of them finished their breakfast slowly, and Yun Yongzhu followed Huang Chengsheng into his practice room. This is where Huang Chengsheng practices, and it is also his library. Xiaojiu, sit down. The main reason your master asked you to come here today is to talk to you about the Foundation Establishment Pill. Yun Yongzhu wondered what the problem was with the Foundation Establishment Pill. He remembered that day, when his 25th great uncle was present, his master stopped him from asking more questions. Master, that day I was just about to ask, how many Foundation Establishment Pills you can refine. You were also present when I collected the spiritual medicines, so you should be able to estimate the approximate number. During this trip to the Zuanshan secret realm, we have collected enough materials for refining 43 Foundation Establishment Pills. According to my estimate, there will be no problem in refining 500 Foundation Establishment Pills. Is 500 a lot or a little? How many Foundation Establishment Pills can I get as a reward for the fantasy god flowers that I hand in? Your elders were present at the time, so I can't say much. In fact, a 4th tier top grade spiritual medicine can get at least 4 Foundation Establishment Pills as a reward, and one has the right to choose the Foundation Establishment Pill. It's just that the Taki training monks who got the 4th tier spiritual medicine before were only outer disciples. Half of their Foundation Establishment Pill rewards were withheld by the sect's top leaders and secretly bought with points. What about the disciples? Yun Yongzhu was a little worried that the same thing would happen to him. Everyone knew the value of the Foundation Establishment Pill, and he didn't want to exchange 2 Foundation Establishment Pills for 60,000 sect points. Don't worry, you are different from the other two. As a disciple of the master, no one can take away your foundation building pill reward. Well, fortunately, master is here. Thank you. But it's okay for my 25th great uncle to know about this matter. Besides, it's not necessary for you to bring me to your practice room to talk about this matter, right? Yun Yongzhu was sensitive to the fact that there were other things involved. Yes, there are other secrets about the foundation building pill, but your realm is too low now. I will tell you slowly, after you have established your foundation. Moreover, the number of foundation building pills is also a secret of the sect. You must not tell others at will. Looking at Huang Chengsheng's serious expression, Yun Yongzhu put aside his thoughts. Disciple wants to ask, Master, when will you start refining the foundation building pill? Tomorrow the sect will send someone to deliver the spiritual medicine. I will refine a few furnaces on Piomio Peak. You can come early tomorrow to observe. Yun Yongzhu was very surprised. He didn't expect that he could get what he wanted just by asking casually. What's that expression on your face? I didn't ask you here just to tell you the secrets of the sect. Among my 4 disciples, you and I are the only alchemists. Who else can I pass on my alchemy skills to if not you? Thank you, Master. I'm just worried that you think my realm is too low. If you wanted to dislike me, you should have done it a long time ago. Why wait until now? Besides, if I disliked you, why would I accept you as my personal disciple? Chapter 157 Master and Disciple Talk. Huang Chengsheng stood up from the mat after he finished speaking. Seeing this, Yun Yongzhu also stood up. Wait here. After a while, Yun Yongzhu saw his master Huang Chengsheng walking out from behind the bookshelf with 2 green jade slips in his hands. This is the foundation building experience that I prepared for you. This one not only contains the foundation building experience of your master's wife and me, but also the experience of your senior brothers and sisters. This one records the foundation building experience of the predecessors in the sect, and even contains the experience of the predecessors who successfully built the foundation without taking foundation building pills or foundation building spiritual objects. You take them all, and understand them well, before building the foundation. Thank you, Master. With this jade slip of foundation building experience, Yun Yongzhu will be able to build the foundation more smoothly, and he will be able to deal with problems calmly during the foundation building process. Oh, by the way, you can show this jade slip to your clan members, but not the one from the sect. Remember, the Yun family of Yunwu Mountain has been established for more than 200 years, and there are only 3 people who have built their foundation. The family library only contains 3 foundation building experiences, which is much better than many small families and independent cultivators, and is also a reflection of the family's heritage. Yun Yongzhu was even more delighted after hearing this, and his master really understood him. He suddenly remembered the demon beast's inner elixir he obtained in the Zuanshan secret realm. It's better to talk about it today than to choose a day. Master, I also got a treasure in the secret realm, please check it out. Yun Yongzhu took out the jade box containing the demon beast's inner elixir. When he opened it, Huang Chengsheng was surprised. Demon beast in a pill? Yes, I got it from a 2nd grade upper grade wind-winged tiger. In fact, Yun Yongzhu still had 12 2nd grade demon beast in a pills, but this one 2nd grade upper grade one was enough to show how powerful a 2nd grade upper grade demon beast was. After all, he and Ning Horan were only key training disciples, and it was already surprising that they could fight against a 2nd grade lower grade demon beast. Because Yun Yongzhu consumed more talisman resources when fighting the demon beast, he naturally got more spoils, so he had 12 2nd grade lower grade demon pills in his hands. Of course, in addition to the demon pills, he also harvested a lot of materials from the demon beasts. After he processed these demon beast materials, he could recover nearly 10,000 of the more than 15,000 talisman resources he lost when entering the Zuanshan secret realm this time. Yun Yongzhu described in detail the process of how he was lucky enough to obtain this 2nd grade upper grade demon pill. You are really lucky, kid. Fortunately, you are far away from the bloodthirsty wolf that exploded. You are also wearing the heavenly silkworm armor given by your master, otherwise you would have been seriously injured. But Zhao Jiu, you have a good chance. You encountered such a good thing on the first day of entering the secret realm, and you escaped unscathed. Master, I have read in the classics that thousands of years ago, the main material for refining foundation building pills was the inner pill of monsters. Can this inner pill be used to refine foundation building pills? Huang Chengsheng pondered for a moment and said, yes. Thousands of years ago, before the discovery of this Zuanshan secret realm, the sect's foundation building pills were mainly refined with the inner pills of monsters. However, refining foundation building pills requires at least the inner pills of 2nd grade monsters or above. But just like cultivators, how many 2nd grade monsters are there in the entire Yunzhou? At that time, one could only hunt 2nd grade monsters, or above in the southern wilderness, where monsters were rampant, obtain an inner pill, and then start the furnace. But this demon beast is not a pet that will accept everything. How could it give up the inner pill, that is the result of its whole body's spiritual power, and entrusted with its life? In order to obtain a demon beast in a pill that can be used to start the furnace, the sect often has to kill dozens or hundreds of low-level cultivators, and the middle and higher-level cultivators often take risks in the endless sea. Therefore, since the discovery of the Zuanshan secret realm, the sect has basically not used the foundation building pill recipe that uses the demon beast in a pill as the main material. Master, do you have that kind of foundation building pill recipe? Can you refine it? Yun Yongzhu was mainly concerned about whether the demon beast in a pill he got could become a foundation building pill. Although I have never refined this kind of foundation building pill, I once collected this pill recipe out of curiosity and studied it for a while. It should not be difficult to refine it. Yun Yongzhu was overjoyed when he heard it. No matter how many foundation building pills this demon beast in a pill can refine, he will make a profit. He had no doubt that his master would fail in refining the elixir. Firstly, his master was an honorable third-rank upper-grade alchemist, and the foundation establishment pill was only a second-rank elixir. Secondly, from his master's tone, it seemed that refining the foundation establishment pill was not a difficult task, so his master was confident. Chapter 158 Filial Piety. Master, I'll leave this foundation building pill in your hands. What other spiritual medicines do I need to prepare? Yun Yongzhu asked his master happily. Huang Changsheng waved his hand, indicating that he didn't need to worry about it. I'll leave it to you to prepare. You just wait for your foundation building pill. When the spiritual medicines are ready, I will ask you to watch the refining process. However, there is a spiritual medicine that is difficult to find. It is called Yujing grass. Although this spiritual herb is only a first-grade high-quality spiritual medicine, it is quite rare. If you have the opportunity to encounter it, you might as well take it. Disciple notes, Master, how can I thank you? Huang Changsheng made an expression of wanting to say something but stopping. Yun Yongzhu thought, could it be that the master really needs his help? Master, if you have anything for me to do, just tell me. Yun Yongzhu had always wanted to give something to his master, his mistress, and his brothers and sisters, but due to his limited cultivation, he had never had any presentable gifts. It's like this. You know that I, master, was born a mortal. Before I joined the sect, I didn't have any cultivators in my clan. But your master's wife is different. She is the legitimate daughter of the Gu family in Yizhao. It was the first time that Yun Yongzhu heard about the family information of master's wife Guana. He waited for Master Huang Changsheng to say the next words. Someone from the Gu family came a few years ago and wanted to ask your master's wife to help exchange a foundation building pill in the sect. When Huang Changsheng said this, Yun Yongzhu already understood what master meant. Before Huang Changsheng could continue, Yun Yongzhu said directly, since I became your direct disciple, you have taught me carefully, and master's wife treats me as your own son. Master and master's wife take good care of me on weekdays. Since master's wife's relatives need foundation building pills, take them from me. Not to mention one foundation building pill, even if it's two, I'm willing to give it to you. Huang Changsheng was very happy to hear Yun Yongzhu say this. How could he not be happy when his disciple was so filial? He was originally kind to Yun Yongzhu because he was impressed by his talent in alchemy. Later, after getting to know Yun Yongzhu, he realized that Yun Yongzhu was a person who valued feelings, so he and his wife cared more about Yun Yongzhu. Hearing Yun Yongzhu's words, he felt relieved and felt that he and his wife had not loved this little disciple in vain. I haven't finished what I want to say yet. What are you trying to say here? Let me continue. It turned out that Huang Changsheng wanted to give the foundation building pill originally reserved for Yun Yongzhu to Guana's relatives. Originally, your master had prepared a share of the foundation building pill for you, but who would have thought that you would have such a great harvest after entering the Zuanshan secret realm? Although the foundation building pill is only a second level elixir, it is more difficult to obtain than some third level elixirs because of its efficacy and the rarity of the materials used to make it. With your master's face, I can only get one. If the number of finished pills is less, it will be difficult to get even one. In fact, as a third level top grade alchemist who refined the foundation building pill this time, Huang Changsheng is also capable of getting 2 or 3 foundation building pills, but the process is destined to be difficult. Because Huang Changsheng rarely participates in the internal affairs of the sect on weekdays, he has strength, but no real power. Considering that his apprentice does not lack the assistance of the foundation building pill this time, Huang Changsheng did not have much intention to compete with others for the foundation building pill, so as not to get involved in the struggle of the sect. Then Huang Changsheng explained to him the approximate distribution of these foundation building pills. First of all, no matter how many pills are made, only half of the foundation building pills can be left in the sect. As for where the remaining half went, Huang Changsheng did not elaborate, only saying that he would know later. Then the remaining half of the foundation building pills should be rewarded to the key training disciples who entered the secret realm, so some more were taken away. according to the situation this time. For example, only about 180 or 90 foundation building pills can be left out of the 500 foundation building pills. Of these 180 or 90, one share must be deducted from the share of a Jinden Zenran like Huang Changsheng, so another 30 or 50 are removed. Thousands of inner disciples can exchange 20 of the 130 or 40 foundation building pills. Hundreds of thousands of outer disciples compete for 10. The 10 subordinate forces get 10, and 10 flow out of the sect, giving tens of millions of family cultivators and independent cultivators a glimmer of hope for foundation building. The last 80 or 90 foundation building pills will be left for the sect to use slowly within 100 years. Yun Yongzhu suddenly realized these 250 or so foundation building pills are equivalent to the low-level cultivators within the entire Qingshan sect's sphere of influence. The competition is really fierce. Chapter 159 Watching Alchemy. Since Yun Yongzhu entered Qingshan sect and became a direct disciple, he has learned in detail how vast the territory of Qingshan sect is. There are nearly 500 states under its jurisdiction, and the smallest area of a state is 150 million hectares, which is equivalent to 10 million square kilometers in more familiar terms. In other words, Qingshan sect controls a total of more than 5 billion square kilometers of territory. Yun Yongzhu said that this astonishing data is so large that it is beyond his understanding. Moreover, this data also reflects the vastness of this world of immortal cultivation, which also makes Yun Yongzhu want to explore. However, he is only in the key training stage now, and his limited lifespan is not enough to explore Yunzhou. In Yunzhou, where Yun Yongzhu's family is located, there should be more than 50,000 to 60,000 cultivators. With 500 states, he can count that there are at least 25 million cultivators in Qingshan sect. Moreover, in a remote state like Yunzhou, there are actually relatively few immortal cultivators. Among these 25 million cultivators, only 1 or 2 thousandths of them are Jinden Zenran and foundation building cultivators, estimated to be 20,000 to 30,000 people. This number can be ignored among the 25 million cultivators. Although most of the cultivators have mixed spiritual roots, it does not mean that they have no possibility of foundation building. Even if only 1% of the cultivators can cultivate to the 9th level of key training, there are still hundreds of thousands of people. Moreover, this data is a very conservative estimate, and the actual number is much higher. With so many cultivators, the number of foundation building pills that can be distributed is only about 200. It is conceivable how rare and difficult it is to obtain foundation building pills. Moreover, according to Master Huang Changsheng, 200 foundation building pills can be distributed this time, which is already a lot. Huang Changsheng, as a Jinden Zenran and the person who refined the foundation building pill this time, has the good fortune of being able to reserve a foundation building pill in advance. For others, it is still unknown what means they have to use and what price they have to pay to get a foundation building pill. Xiaojiu, I'm very pleased that you can say such words just now. However, I understand your intention. I just want to give you the foundation building pill that I promised you before. Before you entered the secret realm, I was still thinking about it and thought of a way myself. But I didn't expect that you would bring such a shocking result to me, the master. Xiaojiu, you are great. Yun Yongzhu was also very happy to hear the words of his master. He thought that his master had forgotten the foundation building pill he promised before, when he saw that he had gained so many foundation building pills in the secret realm. If it weren't for the matter of the master's wife's relatives, it can be predicted that the foundation building pill that the master promised him would definitely fall into his hands. Thinking of this, Yun Yongzhu was very happy and felt that his master was really good to him. Now he asked about his wishes because of this little thing. Master, you don't have to hesitate about this matter. You should have told me when I left the secret realm. You just need to tell me. I said that master's wife seemed to be hiding something in her heart in the past 2 years. It turned out to be because of this. Yes, your master's wife didn't tell me about this matter at all, but how could she hide it from me? Since you agree to give up this foundation building pill, it couldn't be better. Wana will finally stop worrying about this matter. Now is her critical period. Yun Yongzhu thought of the 3rd grade top grade crimson cloud grass that he handed over to the sect and had some guesses in his heart. I really look forward to seeing the day when Master's wife forms a golden pill as soon as possible. I hope so. When I finish refining the foundation building pill, I will prepare to refine the crimson cloud pill for Wana. The next day, Yun Yongzhu rushed from Loyan Hall to Piomio residence early. After breakfast, Huang Changsheng took him to his alchemy room. Yun Yongzhu was very familiar with this alchemy room. Huang Changsheng often taught him the art of alchemy in this alchemy room. This alchemy room was very spacious, with an alchemy table, a ground fire furnace, a spiritual medicine cabinet, etc. There was even a 1st grade high quality alchemy furnace that Yun Yongzhu often used. This was specially prepared for him by Huang Changsheng. Since Huang Changsheng discovered that Yun Yongzhu's 9-dragon cauldron was a precious medicine cauldron, he prepared this alchemy furnace for him. When refining the elixir here, he was only allowed to use this alchemy furnace to exercise his alchemy ability and improve his alchemy level. Jiu, I have already given you the recipe for the foundation building pill. Do you have any insights? Master, I have already understood it many times. This foundation building pill has a total of 688 spiritual medicine materials. The main medicine is the 3rd grade low grade fairy fruit. Refining requires the 2nd grade low grade purple ginseng. Yun Yongzhu told his understanding of the foundation building pill recipe. Yes, you understand it right. The foundation building pill is a barrier breaking pill. After taking it, it can cause the spiritual power in the cultivator's body to be agitated. It contains rich spiritual power. After saying that, Huang Changsheng took out a batch of materials for the foundation building pill. Jiu, come and help me deal with these spiritual medicines. Ah, what? Hurry up and get started. Yun Yongzhu didn't expect that he would have the opportunity to do it himself. He hurriedly and excitedly came to the alchemy platform. After half an hour, the master and disciple finally packed up nearly 700 kinds of spiritual herbs and spiritual medicines. Okay, go aside. I'm going to start warming up the furnace. Watch carefully. So Yun Yongzhu stood 3 feet away from the alchemy platform and watched Huang Changsheng preheat the alchemy furnace. Then according to the pill recipe, he put the processed spiritual medicine materials into the alchemy furnace one by one, refined the spiritual medicine, quenched the essence of the medicine liquid, and then performed the alchemy formula to assist in condensing the pill. Yun Yongzhu watched his master's hands dancing up and down, knowing that he was performing the Daoyan Shao Danju. This was his master's unique alchemy technique, which could better remove the elixir from the furnace without damaging it. Yun Yongzhu's set of 9-turn alchemy art also included the art of condensing and collecting the elixir, in addition to the more advanced fire control technique, which could better refine the elixir. At this last moment, Yun Yongzhu couldn't help but feel extremely nervous. Huang Changsheng only took 3 or 2 breaths to pinch out the complicated and cumbersome Daoyan collection of the elixir art, and then hit it into the alchemy furnace in front of him. Collect. With Huang Changsheng's roar, the lid of his 3rd level Daoyan furnace opened automatically, and a series of golden pills flew out of it. Seeing that his master successfully collected the foundation building pill into the jade bottle on the alchemy table, Yun Yongzhu hurried to his side. Master, let me see it. Yun Yongzhu opened the white jade bottle handed to him by Huang Changsheng, and saw 11 black pills quietly staying inside, and couldn't help shouting happily. Master, 11. There are 11 foundation building pills. Yun Yongzhu's tone was full of admiration. Since he embarked on the path of alchemy, he has only admired 2 alchemists. One was Uncle Wang, whom he met in the Bai Hall of Yuntai Peak for the first time. He was Yun Yongzhu's enlightenment teacher. The other one was Yun Yongzhu's master Huang Changsheng. Since he became a first-class upper-grade alchemist and experienced the alchemy enlightenment, alchemists of the same grade were no longer taken seriously by him. Even Uncle Wang, Yun Yongzhu knew that he had surpassed him long ago. Yun Yongzhu only felt pressure when facing his master Huang Changsheng. He felt that only alchemists like his master were the ones he pursued and surpassed. It's not a full pill, why make such a fuss? Master, this is a foundation building pill. 11 foundation building pills have a success rate of 70%. Can ordinary pills be compared with this? Although a full foundation building pill has 16 pills, it has as many as 688 kinds of materials to refine. It takes a giant Zenron 5 hours to refine one furnace. It is really impossible to have too high expectations for the success rate. When you can easily refine second level pills in the future, you will know that foundation building pills are no different. Well, you have seen it. Go back to Lowen Hall to understand it carefully, and I have to go to Lanlian Peak to refine the remaining foundation building pills. Chapter 160, Top Grade Foundation Building Pill. As Yun Yongzhu comprehended the formula of the foundation building pill and looked forward to it, a month passed slowly. On this day, Yun Yongzhu received a message from his master Huang Chengsheng, saying that he had refined all the foundation building pills, and asked him to go to Lanlian Peak immediately to collect his foundation building pill reward. Half a month ago, he had received a notice that his 4th grade top grade phantom flower would be of great use to the sect's nascent soul ancestors, and the sect decided to reward him with 4 foundation building pills, and give him the right to choose a pill. Yun Yongzhu also wanted to get the foundation building pill as soon as possible, so he didn't delay anymore. As soon as he received the news, he immediately rushed to Lanlian Peak. Master, haven't you returned to Piomio residence yet? Yes, I'm waiting for you. Come in with me. Yun Yongzhu followed Huang Chengsheng to the main hall of the mission hall, and then went into the side hall. Brother Lin, Brother Wei, my disciple is here. Hurry up and take out the foundation building pill I just made. Because the foundation building pill was precious, it was not handed over to the deacon disciple in the foundation building period, but was handed over to the sect's golden pill elder for safekeeping. Brother Huang, you are really impatient. You just handed the foundation building pill to the sect, and before it was put into the pill warehouse, you called your little disciple here. Are you worried that the sect will embezzle his foundation building pill? Brother Lin, you are joking. How dare I think so? It's just that I, your disciple, am anxious and said I want to build my foundation as soon as possible. Yun Yongzhu thought to himself that, although he wanted to get the foundation building pill as soon as possible, he had never mentioned it to his master. However, he did not refute it out loud, but showed an embarrassed expression. Yun Yongzhu took out his purple direct disciple identity card. Uncle Lin, Uncle Wei, this is my identity jade token, please check it. Even though Yun Yongzhu had arrived, and his master was also present, Wei Junai still took his identity jade token, and looked at it carefully, then returned the token to Yun Yongzhu, and nodded slightly to Lin Shangrang. Lin Shangrang then took out a 2-foot-high square wooden box from the storage jade bracelet on his hand and carefully placed it on the ground. The entire box was extremely smooth and tightly fitted, with only an irregular circular groove on the surface. Then Lin Shangrang and Wei Junai each put half a key into the groove, just filling it up completely. Yun Yongzhu was quite knowledgeable, and even if he had never seen it, he guessed that this was a treasure called Linglong Box. This was a treasure created by a master of mechanisms named Linglong, and was specially used to store precious items. Except for the method used by Lin Shangrang and Wei Junai to open the box, no other method could take out the items in the Linglong box, even for Yun Yongzhu cultivators. And there was only one copy of this key, which could not be copied or reproduced. Therefore, if the key is damaged or lost, the items in the exquisite box will be lost. Unless Master Linglong comes back to life, there may be a slight chance. After the key was put into the groove, a subtle sound came from the exquisite box. After only half a breath, the exquisite box opened automatically. Lin Shangrang was about to take the foundation building pill, but was stopped by Huang Chengsheng. Brother Lin, I'll take it myself. I have already packed this pill for Xiaojiu. Aren't all these foundation building pills the same? What's there to choose? Having said that, Lin Shangrang still made a gesture of invitation. According to the rules, disciples who have handed in 4th level spiritual medicines have the right to choose foundation building pills. Huang Chengsheng waved his hand, and a large jade bottle flew into his palm. He opened the mouth of the bottle, and pointed it at Lin Shangrang and Wei Junai. Brother Lin, Brother Wei, please look, 8 pills, is the number correct? The two of them scanned it with their spiritual sense, and knew that the number was correct, and both nodded. Huang Chengsheng then took out a small jade bottle from the exquisite box. This is the one I have. Senior brother Lin and junior brother Wei both know about it, right? Yes. Lin Shangrong closed the exquisite box, carefully put it into the storage jade bracelet, and handed the other half of the key to Wei Junai. The master and disciple had already received their foundation building pills, so they said goodbye to the Tajind and Zenran. After they left the hall, Yun Yongzhu saw a familiar face going in. It was Ning Horan. Before the two had time to take off, several more disciples who had escaped from the Zuanshan secret realm entered the mission hall. It seems that there are many well-informed people. As soon as the foundation building pills came out, they came to Lanlian Peak one after another to receive them. The master and disciple returned to Piomio Peak and came to Piomio residence. Huang Chengsheng handed Yun Yongzhu the bottle of foundation building pills. Xiaojiu, are you confused that your master is so anxious to call you to Danlian Peak? Indeed, Yun Yongzhu was also wondering why his master was so anxious. The first to distribute the foundation building pills are the cultivators who enter the secret realm. Whether they receive them later or earlier, it will not have much impact on them. Open this bottle of foundation building pills and you will know. Could there be one more? Yun Yongzhu took the stopper of the jade bottle in his hand according to what his master said. 8 foundation building pills, not one more, not one less, and all of them are top grade. Yun Yongzhu's face was full of question marks. What's that look? Take a closer look. This is. Yun Yongzhu poured out a different foundation building pill, observed it carefully for a while, and then put it to his mouth and nose to smell it. His eyes lit up instantly. Master, is this foundation building pill of perfect quality? Finally found it. Yes, this is a top quality foundation building pill. I have refined 2 batches of foundation building pills, and out of nearly 100 furnaces, only this one perfect quality foundation building pill came out by chance. That's why I hurriedly asked you to go to Lanlian Peak to collect the pill. You should know that when the pills are put into the pill warehouse, they will be tested one by one in the medicine testing bowl. By then, this precious top quality foundation building pill will definitely not be in your hands. Master, thank you so much. Yun Yongzhu was very excited. He took out an empty jade bottle and put this top quality foundation building pill away separately, preparing to take it for himself when he was building his foundation. He knew very well how low the probability of this top quality pill appearing was. Even after experiencing the pill enlightenment, the quality of his pills had greatly improved, but the probability of a perfect quality pill appearing was still the same as before. Even if Yun Yongzhu had refined a top quality broken limb regeneration pill during the alchemy competition, he would not dare to guarantee that he would be able to refine a top quality broken limb regeneration pill again, let alone a top quality one. After all, this pill was not the elixir he often refined. Moreover, alchemy is a simple yet complicated matter. Simple means that its steps are simple, and complicated means that the temperature, the properties of the liquid medicine, and the changes are constantly changing. Top quality pills are not so easy to refine. The reason why Yun Yongzhu was accepted as a direct disciple by Huang Chengsheng is also closely related to the top quality pills he refined during the alchemy competition. Top quality pills are so difficult to produce, let alone top quality pills. Ordinary alchemists don't even know of the existence of pills of this quality. If you want to thank me, then quickly cultivate to perfection, and then build your foundation. Speaking of which, you are so lucky. With the qualifications of 3 spiritual roots, you became an inner disciple of the sect. You won the first place in the alchemy competition. You became my personal disciple. You entered the secret realm and got the 4th level spiritual medicine. Now you have 8 foundation building pills. And just before you built your foundation, I just refined a top grade foundation building pill. It seems that there is some power helping you in the dark. Huang Chengsheng had never noticed it before. The more he talked about it, the more he felt that his disciple had extraordinary luck. However, although the immortal cultivators have all kinds of great powers, they are also confused about this illusory luck. Even so, there have indeed been cultivators with stronger luck than Yun Yongzhu in the day and immortal world. Such cultivators seem to be the favorites of heaven and their cultivation is smooth sailing. Master, you are exaggerating. I have also survived several near-death experiences, but it was not as smooth as you said. Yun Yongzhu was shocked by Huang Chengsheng's remarks. Haha, isn't it good to have good luck? Well, I won't say any more. You can go back to Loan Palace. I have to get busy here too. Chapter 161 Guana's Dan Formation. Yun Yongzhu opened his eyes, feeling the full spiritual power in his danshan, and couldn't help but curl up his lips. He finally completed the 9th level of key training. He walked out of the training room and came to the backyard. He was surprised to find that except for the 5-element spiritual fruit tree, the other 50 spiritual fruit trees were either blooming or bearing small green fruits. Wang Yiming was seriously performing the spirit rain technique on the 5-element spiritual fruit tree. Junior brother Wang, you have good skills. It's only been a few days since you came out, and these spiritual fruit trees have bloomed and borne fruit. Senior brother Yun, you've come out of retreat. Wang Yiming was startled by Yun Yongzhu's sudden voice. I've been taking care of them for almost 20 years, and it's time for them to bear fruit. As for this 5-element spiritual fruit tree, I don't know how long I have to take care of it. It hasn't grown up in these years. I don't know if there is something wrong with it. It has been more than a year since the day he received the foundation building pill. Yun Yongzhu has been in Piomio Peak for more than 7 years, nearly 8 years. The 5-element spiritual fruit tree is only 2 inches taller than when it was transplanted. It is still unknown how many years it will take to grow up, because it grows on a 2nd level upper grade spiritual vein. Don't worry, as long as it is alive, it will grow slowly and naturally. By the way, when will these spiritual fruit trees be ripe? 1st level lower grade spiritual fruits can be picked in just 1 year, including yellow jade peach, red jade peach, jasper peach, red heart grapefruit, green jujube and pink jujube. Wang Yiming said to Yun Yongzhu, while pointing to him. The moon mang tree, green spiritual fruit tree, white cotton fruit tree, wuayang fruit tree, and spiritual apricot tree are all 1st level middle grade spiritual fruit trees. They have just bloomed. It will probably take 2 years for them to grow fruits before they can be picked. As for the spiritual cherry tree, black mulberry tree and silver snow fruit tree, these are all 1st level upper grade spiritual fruit trees. It will probably take 2 years for them to bloom and bear fruit, and the maturity period is as long as 2 years. Yun Yongzhu felt very troubled when listening to Wang Yiming's words, and he couldn't help but repeat it again. Junior brother Wang, if you feel it's hard to take care of these spiritual plants, you can always find helpers. Just tell me. Don't worry, senior brother Yun, although these things are complicated, they are very easy. You have to believe me. Now the 20 acres of spiritual fields outside the cave are almost all planted with spiritual medicines and spiritual plants that are 5 to 10 years old, which are quite easy to take care of. Besides, thanks to you, I'm now almost perfecting the 6th level of key training, and these tasks will only become easier and easier for me. As long as you can do it, this bottle of low-grade key gathering pill is for you. Come back to me after you use it. Has anyone come to see me these days? Also, has anyone come from Yunwu Mountain? Fairy Wan came once, and it seems that she asked you to refine the pill. Seeing that you were in seclusion, she left again. Senior Yun hasn't come yet. It's strange. Why hasn't the 25th great uncle come yet? In more than half a year, his father will celebrate his 60th birthday. Coincidentally, while the two were talking, news came from Ying Peak that his relatives had come to visit, and there were 4 of them. Yun Yongzhu was overjoyed. It must be his parents who had finally arrived. He told Wang Yiming to go to Piomio Peak to get some spiritual food, and then Yun Yongzhu rode a 2nd grade high quality spiritual crane to the outside of the sect. There were not many 2nd grade spiritual cranes in the sect, so they had to be booked in advance. If he was not a direct disciple, he would not have been able to rent one in such a short time. Yun Yongzhu soon arrived at Ying Peak, and as expected, he saw Yun Zuxun and his friends. Father and mother. 25th great uncle. You must be the 9th great uncle, right? Your grandson Yongzhu pays homage to the 9th great uncle. Among the 4 people, Yun Yongzhu had only seen an old man in his 50s or 60s, and of course it was the 9th great uncle he had never met. Good. Little 9, get up quickly, you really look like your father. I've heard from my 25th brother about your contributions to the family. You are a great contributor to our Yun family. Yun Yongzhu stroked his short beard and looked at Yun Yongzhu with eyes full of love. You two great-grandfathers are too kind. Everything is what I should do. Come back to the cave with me first. The group quickly went to Loyun Hall. When Pilomio Peak was close in front of them, Yun Yongzhu was about to introduce it, but suddenly he saw clouds and winds rising above Pilomio Peak. Yun Yongzhu was confused when he heard Yun Yongzhu and the other two exclaimed, "Someone has condensed a golden elixir." Yun Yongzhu reacted instantly. His master's wife Guana had been in seclusion for more than a year. It was unexpected that she would condense a golden elixir so soon. Yun Yongzhu was overjoyed. Quick, go to Pilomio Peak first. As soon as the 5 people entered Pilomio Peak, they felt a mountain protection formation rising outside Pilomio Peak. 25th great-grandfather, please take the 9th great-grandfather and my parents to Loyun Hall first. I want to go to the top of the peak to take a look. After saying that, Yun Yongzhu hurried to Pilomio residence. During this time, the rolling dark clouds gathered and spun rapidly above Pilomio Peak, gradually forming a huge funnel-shaped cloud roll. All the cultivators of King Shan sect noticed the huge movement, and they stopped what they were doing and stared blankly at the huge funnel-shaped cloud roll above Pilomio Peak, not knowing what had happened. Yun Yongzhu soon reached the top of Pilomio Peak. His master Huang Changsheng was looking solemnly at the practice room, where Guana was in seclusion. The other 3 brothers and sisters were also present. Master, big brother, second brother, third sister, Zhao Jiu. Little brother, you are here. Yun Yongzhu greeted them, and just like them, he looked at the funnel-shaped cloud with a worried and expectant look. After a while, a lightning as thick as a thigh flashed in the funnel-shaped cloud, and it struck straight down towards the location of Pilomio Residence's practice room. This was the small thunder tribulation that needed to be experienced when forming a pill. Then a rumbling sound resounding through the sky came from the calamity cloud. Yun Yongzhu was close enough to feel the might of the heaven in the calamity cloud. He felt that, if he were hit by such a thunder, he would lose half his life, if he didn't die. After the thunder calamity, the calamity cloud that gathered over Pilomio Peak dissipated in an instant. Huang Changsheng saw this and relaxed. He only needed to wait for Guana to condense into a pill. In a few breaths, countless spiritual energy from heaven and earth began to rush madly towards the top of the mountain, forming a huge spiritual energy vortex at the top of Pilomio Peak. Within hundreds of miles of Pilomio Peak, all the monks who were meditating and practicing felt the change of spiritual energy, stopped their spiritual energy circulation, and walked out of the practice room to check. Seeing that the spiritual energy was rushing to Pilomio Peak, they guessed that it was a phenomenon, that their fellow disciples were condensing golden pills. Everyone's face was filled with shock, envy, jealousy, and admiration. The spiritual energy gathered more and more, and Yun Yongzhu felt that he was full of spiritual energy every time he took a breath. The training room, where Guana was like a big monster, absorbing all the surging spiritual power continuously. After a full quarter of an hour, the spiritual power gradually calmed down, and the spiritual power vortex slowly dissipated. Then, a huge colorful cloud appeared above Pilomio Peak, covering the sky and the sun, and a colorful beam of light shot down from it, covering the entire Pilomio Peak. Zhao Jiu, quickly practice the exercises. Yun Yongzhu obeyed the words of his master Huang Changsheng without hesitation, sat down on the ground, and practiced the 9th level of the burning wood art. Bathed in this colorful spiritual light, Yun Yongzhu felt like he was in a warm hot spring, and his whole body was comfortable. With the operation of the exercises, Yun Yongzhu's cultivation realm that had just been perfected became more stable, and his soul became more solid under the illumination of the colorful rays of light. Chapter 162. Before building the foundation, the colorful spiritual light lasted only half an hour before it dissipated. Even the huge colorful cloud above Pilomio Peak disappeared in an instant. When the glow faded, Guana appeared outside Pilomio residence. Her face was a little pale, but full of joy. Brother Sheng. Wana, are you okay? Brother Sheng, I'm fine. I successfully formed a golden elixir, and became a golden elixir real person. Haha. She was so happy. After years of cultivation, she finally condensed a golden elixir. Guana was a 3 spiritual root. She built her foundation at the age of 47. It took her 103 years to cultivate to the great perfection of the foundation building. She stayed in the realm of the great perfection of the foundation building for more than 10 years. Thinking about the hard work of the past and the planning of the couple for more than 10 years, she was very excited. She finally caught up with her husband and stepped into the realm of condensing the elixir. Brother Sheng, thank you. Without you, I would not have been able to form a golden elixir. Huang Changsheng pinched Guana's cheek. What are you thanking me for? You are my wife. Everything I have done is what I should do. Except for Yun Yongzhu, who was still meditating and practicing. Zhao Yang and the other three stood behind Huang Changsheng. They were all filled with joy at this moment. Congratulations to Master's wife on forming a golden elixir. Congratulations to Master's wife on forming a golden elixir successfully. Good. You should also practice well, especially you, Janger. Now you have entered the late stage of foundation building, so you should practice harder. The master and his disciples were very happy, and other fellow disciples came to congratulate them. Congratulations to junior sister Gu for becoming one of our generation. Congratulations to senior brother Huang. Junior sister Gu has formed a golden elixir, and our Qingshan sect has added another real person. Before the people arrived, the voices came first. The 6 golden elixir real people entered Piomio Peak one after another, and came to the side of Huang Changsheng and his disciples. Congratulations, senior brothers. Thank you for coming to congratulate us. Why don't we go into the cave to talk? Although Huang Changsheng had set up soundproofing and protective magic arrays around his little disciple, he was still worried that he would disturb him. No need, we are just here to congratulate you. Besides, junior sister Gu still needs to consolidate her elm. Let's talk properly at the golden elixir ceremony. After saying that, several people said goodbye and left one after another. When Yun Yongzhu opened his eyes, he felt that his mind was calm, and he no longer had the impetuous heart that was eager to build a foundation before. At this time, only Huang Changsheng and his senior brother Zhao Yang were left outside Piomio residence. The two were talking. Yun Yongzhu only heard a few words vaguely. Demon cultivators in the demon infant stage, deaths and injuries. Endless sea. He wanted to listen more carefully, but was discovered by Huang Changsheng. Xiaojiu, you have completed your cultivation. How do you feel? Yun Yongzhu nodded slightly to his senior brother Zhao Yang, who he had only met once, and then answered Huang Changsheng's question. Master, I'm doing fine. My realm is very stable now. I feel I can build my foundation at any time. That's right. The rosy glow is a strange phenomenon that occurs when a cultivator is forming a golden elixir. It is said that it is a reward bestowed by this great world on Jinden Zenran. It is of great benefit for low-level cultivators to bathe in the rosy glow, especially for cultivators in the key training stage. It can also make it easier for them to build their foundation. I see. Thank you, Master, for your advice. By the way, where's your master's wife? How is she? Your master's wife formed a golden elixir successfully and didn't suffer any serious injuries. She is now in the practice room to stabilize her elm. Yun Yongzhu was overjoyed. Now he had 2 Jinden Zenran to rely on. Congratulations, Master. When Master's wife forms the Dan, she can become a nascent soul together with you. Haha, I hope there will be a day when she breaks the Dan and becomes a nascent soul. Xiaojiu, hurry back to the cave. Your clansmen are still waiting for you. Janger, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Come in with me, we can talk more. Master, big brother, I'll go down first. Yun Yongzhu summoned the flowing light wings and flew to his Loan Palace while thinking about a place name he had heard before, the Endless Sea. This was the second time Yun Yongzhu heard Huang Changsheng mention this place. He remembered that when he got the ancient spirit fruit wine recipe, he also got an autobiography. The autobiography mentioned this place, but did not describe the specific location. Yun Yongzhu thought that his cultivation was too low, and it would be useless. Even if he knew it, it would only add to his troubles. This might be the reason why Master didn't tell him. He soon returned to the cave, and saw everyone talking happily in the courtyard. Grandfathers, parents, the child is back. Xiaojiu, you are back. Tell us quickly, is your master's wife forming a pill? The four people and Wang Yiming all looked at him, waiting for his answer. Yes, the master's wife successfully formed a pill, and now she is a Jinden Zenran. Sure enough, the pill condensation was successful, otherwise there would not be that colorful spiritual light. Yun Yongzhu and Yun Yongzhu's faces were full of envy, and the others were also yearning. Xiaojiu, your mother and I feel great now. The spiritual power in our bodies is condensed, the realm is stable, and even the state of mind is peaceful. We can build a foundation at any time. Have you inquired about the procedures and fees for entering spiritual veins in the sect? I just arrived at the sect and met Xiaojiu's master's wife forming a pill. It seems that the chances of you and your wife successfully building a foundation have increased a lot. The colorful spiritual light that appeared after Guana condensed the pill was not only for Yun Yongzhu, not to mention the disciples who were already in Piomio Peak. Huang Changsheng withdrew the mountain protection formation after the glow appeared. The 6 Jinden Zenran brought many inner disciples and direct disciples to Piomio Peak to bathe in the rare spiritual light of heaven and earth. Even many outer disciples who were close were lucky enough to enter the range of the 5-colored spiritual light. Huang Changsheng certainly knew about this situation, and he also allowed and hoped to see this situation. This is also the tradition of the sect. Once a cultivator wants to form a pill, he must find a way to return to the sect. Once the pill is successfully formed, it will benefit many low-level disciples in the sect. This is one of the benefits of being in the sect, and it is also a rare opportunity. It can be predicted that, after bathing in this 5-colored spiritual light, many key training disciples will succeed in building a foundation, and add more intermediate disciples to the sect. Dad and Mom, don't worry, the child has already inquired about the procedures and fees for entering the spiritual vein. Why don't we go and handle the procedures for entering the spiritual vein after we finish the spiritual meal? Yun Yongzhu had already seen that the spiritual meal he had asked Wang Yiming to prepare had been laid out on the stone table. The 25th great-grandfather and his parents probably didn't have a good rest along the way, so it was a good time to welcome them. Everyone nodded in agreement and took their seats. Junior brother Wang, please arrange to clean up 3 quiet courtyards for my 2 great-grandfathers and my parents. Wang Yiming was not the only one in Yun Yongzhu's cave. There were also outer disciples arranged by his master and his wife to take care of him. However, these people were only in the initial stage of key training, and they had no special skills, so they could only do odd jobs. Wang Yiming responded and went out to make arrangements. Wang Yiming is now in Luoyangju, which is actually equivalent to the role of a housekeeper, but he is a leisurely housekeeper, and he only needs to take care of the spiritual plants on weekdays. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163, Leasing a Spirit Cave. Mom, please try this spiritual cabbage and purple jade radish. They are delicious. Dad, 25th great-grandfather, 9th great-grandfather, you guys should try it too. This monster meat tastes good too. Oh, by the way, I have prepared snake gall wine here. Yun Yongzhu took out his treasured 2nd level spiritual wine and poured it for Yun Yongzhu and Yun Yongzhu. The spiritual power of this spiritual wine is too strong. 25th great-grandfather, 9th great-grandfather, you two drink it by yourselves. We 3 mothers will not accompany you. This snake gall wine was specially prepared by Yun Yongzhu to entertain the distinguished guests in the foundation building period. Dad, Mother, let's drink this 1st level top grade green bamboo wine. The taste of the wine is light but long lasting. Yun Yongzhu greeted the 4 people enthusiastically, wanting to share his favorite with them. It took more than an hour to finish a spiritual meal. Yun Yongzhu called the servants to clean up the dishes and took the 4 people to the wing room. After the 4 people entered a room, Yun Yongzhu took out 3 jade bottles. The 4 people immediately realized that this was the precious foundation building pill, and their eyes became hot. Yun Yongzhu had already thought about it, and he separated the foundation building pills into bottles. Grandpa Jiu, this is a top grade foundation building pill. Please keep it. Then he gave the other 2 bottles to Yun Dachan and Yang Liu. Here are the foundation building pills I prepared for you two. There are 3 pills each, and the grade is all top grade. You can build your foundation without worry. At this moment, Yun Yongzhu's selfishness was undoubtedly exposed, but Yun Zuxuan and the others did not show any abnormality. After all, these foundation building pills were obtained by Yun Yongzhu at the cost of his life, and he had the right to control these pills. Father Yun and Mother Yun are not only Yun Yongzhu's parents, but also members of the Yun family. Moreover, they are also alchemists and talisman makers, and their importance to the family is higher than that of ordinary members. Now, the importance of the 2 of them to the family has increased sharply. Moreover, according to their thinking, Yun Dachan and Yang Liu encountered this rare celestial phenomenon of forming a pill, and 1 top-grade foundation building pill was enough for them to successfully build their foundation. Even if the situation was even worse, they would only use up all 6 top-grade foundation building pills, but they could harvest 2 clansmen in the foundation building period, which was not a loss. With 6 top-grade foundation building pills, no one thought about the possibility of failure in building the foundation. Even Yun Dachan and Yang Liu were full of confidence. Then Yun Zuxuan took out a storage bag and handed it to Yun Yongzhu. Xiaojiu, here are 150,000 spirit stones prepared by the family. I know the number is relatively small, but this is all the savings that the family can take out at present. I will send you more spirit stones in a few years. The meaning was obvious. Even if it was Yun Yongzhu's parents who needed to build their foundation, the family could not let Yun Yongzhu bear the cost of their foundation alone. According to the market of foundation building pills in the cultivation world, these 150,000 spirit stones could only buy 1.5 at most, and it did not include the cost of renting the spirit vein cave. Yun Yongzhu did not refuse, but transferred the 50,000 spirit stones to his own storage bag, and then handed the storage bag back to Yun Zuxuan. 25th great-grandfather, only 50,000 spirit stones are enough. This is the cost of my adventure into the secret realm, and the cost of the family renting the spirit vein cave. These foundation building pills are all rewards given to me by the sect. I don't need to pay extra points or spirit stones to the sect. I'm also a member of Yunwu Mountain, so I have contributed to the family. Although this foundation building pill is precious, he only handed over 1 to the family, and the rest were all given to his parents to build their foundation. He was embarrassed to collect more spirit stones from the family. If he didn't have too few spirit stones on him now, and needed them soon, he wouldn't even want to take these 50,000 spirit stones. Yun Zuxuan didn't take the storage bag that Yun Yongzhu handed back to him. Take them all. It cost you a lot to enter the Zuanshan secret realm this time. You don't have many spiritual stones on you, right? Yun Zuxuan also said, Xiaojiu, you don't have to refuse. That's what I mean. The family must have rules. This foundation building pill is not an ordinary spiritual pill. Even if it is for Chenna and Chenna's wife, you can't take it out for nothing. Yun Yongzhu saw that Yun Dachan and Yang Liu were also nodding, so he had to say, forget about the spiritual stones. Leave them to the family. The remaining 100,000 spiritual stones can be recorded as contribution points on my family jade card. Seeing Yun Yongzhu say this, Yun Zuxuan had to record 650,000 contribution points for him at the price of 100,000 spiritual stones for a foundation building pill, which included the number of foundation building pills in the hands of Yun's father and mother. After the 2 told Yun Yongzhu to use these contribution points carefully, they returned his identity card to him. By the way, Zua, did you leave any foundation building pills for yourself? Yun Yongzhu nodded. Mother, I left it here. You guys take a rest first. I'll go to the least spirit caves and mansions. Yun Yongzhu called a servant to take Yun Zuxuan and the others to their courtyard to rest. Then he rushed to the nearest Walong Peak mission hall, found a foundation building deacon, and told him about renting spirit caves. In fact, such matters of renting caves for outsiders to advance should be consulted and handled in the Foreign Affairs Hall, but Yun Yongzhu's identity is useful. Junior brother Yun, you are a direct disciple of the sect, and your clan members can get a discount when renting spirit caves. 2 second level high quality spirit caves only cost 4,200 spirit stones. The spirit caves and mansions of Kingshan sect are rented out mainly for the majority of independent cultivators and small families without second level spiritual veins. Moreover, not only the second level spirit caves and mansions needed for foundation building, but also the third level spirit caves and mansions needed for den formation can be rented. As long as you can provide enough spirit stones, not only the spiritual land, but also the magic tools that assist foundation building and dan formation, as well as the Huang disc that records the skills of the cultivators, can be rented. Kingshan sect has developed a complete charging system. For the disciples of the sect, even the outer disciples and menial disciples, there are certain discounts. With Yun Yongzhu's identity, he can pay 3/10 less spirit stones to rent the foundation building spirit cave. The price given by the foundation building deacon disciple is exactly the same as what Yun Yongzhu has inquired about. He paid the spirit stones without hesitation. Uncle Master, please arrange a good location, preferably near Piomio Peak. Of course, since you, Master ZHU, have come in person, how dare I neglect you? Yun Yongzhu didn't expect that even the foundation building cultivator could recognize him and be so polite to him. He was a little flattered. In fact, it was because he had two giant Zenran behind him that the foundation building cultivator spoke so politely. The foundation building deacon really chose a spirit peak that was closer to Yun Yongzhu, called Lotus Peak, and he heard that the spirit vein grade on this spirit peak had already evolved towards the lower third grade. Yun Yongzhu was very satisfied. He nodded and thanked the other party. He took the two jade talismans and returned to the Lowen Hall on the hillside at Piomio Peak and came to his parents' small courtyard. Dad, Mom, I have done it. The spirit cave has been rented. You can go there now. The time is 1 year. If you have not completed the foundation building after the time, you will have to pay the spirit stones after you come out of retreat. Yang Lila pulled her son to sit down and poured him a cup of tea. Zua, drink some tea first and talk slowly. Don't worry. Let's go there tomorrow. What grade is it? A second grade upper grade spirit cave. It is on the Lotus Peak to the west of Piomio Peak. I passed by that spirit peak when I came back here before. It looks like a lotus. Yun Dachin said, it's enough to rent a second grade lower grade spirit cave. Why spend so many spirit stones? What he said actually made sense. For the advancement from the key training stage to the foundation building stage, a second grade lower grade spirit cave is enough. But Yun Yongzhu likes to strive for perfection. Dad, I've already rented it, and this is a matter of great importance to the two of you in building your foundation. Zua is also kind-hearted. Brother Chen, why are you talking to him for no reason? Son, ignore him. By the way, when will you start building your foundation? Mom, I'll start tomorrow too, in the practice room in this cave. Yun Yongzhu's practice room is built on a spiritual cave, so naturally there is no need to rent another cave. That's great. How many foundation building pills did you leave? Do you think they are enough? Or should I take one from you? Foundation building pills are so precious that her son took out 6 at once. Yang Lila guessed that her son only left 1 for her and was very worried that Yun Yongzhu's foundation building pills would not be enough. For Yang Lila, if only one person could build his foundation, she would rather that person be his son. If anyone wants to give, I'll give it to you. Yun Dachin directly took out the jade bottle containing the foundation building pills. Mom and Dad, you don't have to fight or worry. My pills are better than yours. Yun Yongzhu then quietly told the two about the quality of his foundation building pills. Yun Dachin and Yang Lila were relieved. Then Yun Yongzhu took out the foundation building experience that his master Huang Chengsheng had given him. Mom and Dad, take a look at this foundation building experience today. This is what my master gave me. Chapter 164. Continuous Foundation Building 1. The next morning, Yun Yongzhu did not see his father and mother off. He only arranged for Wang Yiming to lead the 4 people and asked him to go to Yink Peak to explain that his relatives had rented the spirit cave to build their foundation, so as to avoid Yink Peak coming to chase them away. Dad, Mom, see you after building your foundation. Xiaojiu, everything goes well. Yun Zuxuan and Yun Zuxan were guarding the spirit veins and spirit caves, where the couple was in seclusion to prevent any accidents. Seeing the 5 people flying away, Yun Yongzhu took out a sound transmission talisman and sent him a message according to Huang Chengsheng's earlier instructions, informing him that he would start building his foundation today. When Yun Yongzhu walked into the courtyard and wanted to enter the practice room, Huang Chengsheng came. "Master, why are you here? I have thought about it for a long time and feel that it is still not safe, so I found a spiritual milk for you." As the two talked, they walked into Yun Yongzhu's practice room. "Sit down. Here, this is the 100-year spiritual milk that I just got this morning. Take it. If you run out of spiritual power when you are building your foundation, take this drop of 100-year spiritual milk." Spiritual milk is an extremely precious spiritual object, even more precious than foundation building pills. It is a milky white essence liquid formed by the precipitation of spiritual energy over thousands of years. It is usually only formed in a space with rich spiritual energy and a closed environment. 100-year spiritual milk contains a huge amount of spiritual power. A foundation building cultivator can instantly restore the spiritual power of the whole body by taking a drop, and it can also be used for cultivation. In addition, if a drop of spiritual milk can be added during alchemy, the number of pills can be increased, or even doubled. Therefore, for alchemists, it is an even more rare treasure, especially for high-level alchemists. The portion of heaven and earth spiritual water in Yun Yongzhu's hand is actually diluted 100-year spiritual milk. He is reluctant to use a portion of diluted heaven and earth spiritual water until now. You can imagine how precious this 100-year spiritual milk is. On the other hand, the rarity of the spiritual waters of heaven and earth also reflects how precious the 100-year spiritual milk is. It is said that the 1000-year spiritual milk can not only instantly restore the spiritual power of a giant and cultivator, but also has the magical effect of growing flesh on bones and regenerating dead trees, and can also accelerate the growth of spiritual medicines. Although Yun Yongzhu felt that he could successfully build his foundation without the 100-year spiritual milk, he still did not reject his master's intention. "Master, this training room of yours is built on a spirit cave of a 2nd grade superior spirit vein. Isn't it more than enough for me to build my foundation?" "Xiaojiu, have you forgotten that, in order to be able to perform the alchemy techniques of the 9-turn alchemy art, your master found the soul tempering art for you to assist in your practice? You also took a year-long medicinal bath and finally succeeded in doubling your spiritual power compared to that of cultivators of the same level. It is precisely because of this that your master guesses that the amount of spiritual power you will need to build your foundation will be several times higher than that of cultivators of the same level. Your spiritual power has been tempered by the soul tempering art and its purity is very high, so there should be no big problem in building your foundation. The only problem is that you are afraid that your spiritual power will not be able to support you, and you will not be able to continue. Your master thinks that only the spiritual milk can solve this problem. Fortunately, you found it successfully. It's best if you can't use it. In case your spiritual power is insufficient, you can take this drop of 100-year-old spiritual milk." So that's how it is, Yun Yongzhu suddenly realized. "Thank you, master, for your hard work." Yun Yongzhu was very grateful. This 100-year-old spiritual milk was very precious and hard to come by. Even Huang Chengsheng, a giant and Zenran, had to search for it for so long before he got it. "You and I are master and disciple. There is no need to be so polite. I just hope you can successfully build your foundation. It's still early. I will tell you about the key points of building the foundation." After an incense stick, Huang Chengsheng felt the spiritual energy in the depths of the spirit cave moving and knew that the time was coming, so he stopped talking. "The spirit cave will erupt soon, and I will not say more. I will leave now. I hope to hear the news of your foundation building soon. Farewell, master." After Huang Chengsheng left, Yun Yongzhu stood up and put down the dragon breaking stone in the practice room. He first took out a delicate small jade tripod and lit a long incense stick, and then sat cross-legged on the cushion where he usually practiced. The incense stick is a 2nd level incense, and its fragrance can improve the concentration of cultivators and assist them in meditation. After that, Yun Yongzhu took out a bottle of pills and decisively poured one into his mouth. This was a 1st grade, high-quality fasting pill that could keep one full for about a month. He also gave one bottle to each of his parents for emergency use. Then Yun Yongzhu took out 2 jade bottles and placed them in front of him. These were the top grade foundation building pill and the 100-year-old spiritual milk. He did not rush to take the foundation building pill, but instead smelled the lingering incense and silently recited the calming heart sutra. After silently reciting the calming heart sutra, Yun Yongzhu practiced the 9th level of the burning wood sutra as he usually did. In fact, Yun Yongzhu's current key training period practice could no longer increase his spiritual power. He was just adjusting his state. At this time, the spiritual energy in the spirit cave just surged up and washed Yun Yongzhu's body. Yun Yongzhu tirelessly practiced the key training chapter of the Burning Wood Sutra until he felt pain in his meridians. Then he stopped and switched to the auxiliary practice Quenching Spirit Sutra. When he had cultivated the soul tempering technique to its limit, he stopped the circulation of his spiritual power and gathered all the spiritual power in his meridians and his dinshin. Yun Yongzhu did nothing afterwards, but simply entered into a state of meditation, as if he had returned to his childhood, when he had just started practicing. He did not use his spiritual consciousness to activate the spiritual power in his danshin, but only used his mind to sense the spiritual power in his body. Yun Yongzhu was immersed in a state of being neither asleep nor awake in the practice room. However, although he did not practice, a large amount of spiritual energy slowly gathered around him, until one day, the spiritual energy around Yun Yongzhu suddenly surged, covering his entire body. He suddenly felt something in his heart, and sensed the opportunity to build his foundation. Yun Yongzhu opened his calm eyes, and poured the foundation building pill in front of him into his mouth without hesitation. The foundation building pill melted in his mouth, and took effect in less than a breath. Yun Yongzhu felt a feeling of ants biting his body, which was not very painful, but itchy. The calm spiritual power in his body seemed to have taken stimulants. Without using his spiritual consciousness to control it, it ran out of his danshin and ran around in his meridians. Yun Yongzhu would certainly not let the spiritual power in his body rebel. He endured the strange feeling coming from his meridians and used his spiritual consciousness to control the rampant spiritual power. Fortunately, Yun Yongzhu's spiritual power was far superior to that of the cultivators of the same level. Even though the spiritual power in his body was very violent, it still ran the trajectory of the burning wood art according to Yun Yongzhu's wishes. As the power of the foundation building pill was exerted, the spiritual power in Yun Yongzhu's body became more restless, and he had to speed up the speed of the spiritual power. As the speed of the spiritual power went faster, Yun Yongzhu could feel the endless spiritual energy pouring in from the outside. 1 circle, 2 circles. Yun Yongzhu saw a fiery red spiritual power in Yun Yongzhu's meridians, like a wild horse running out of reins, running endlessly inside, and growing bigger and bigger. Gradually, Yun Yongzhu felt a burning pain coming from his meridians. He knew that he couldn't let this spiritual power continue to circulate in his meridians, otherwise his meridians would burst. Yun Yongzhu used all his spiritual consciousness to barely control the huge spiritual power in his meridians. After his unremitting efforts, he finally led it into his danshin. Chapter 165, Continuous Foundation Building 2. The spiritual power that entered the danshin could not find a place to vent, and became more violently agitated. Yun Yongzhu quickly used his spiritual consciousness to control this spiritual power, and according to the method he had originally considered, let it rotate in the danshin. Under his traction and manipulation, the spiritual power in the danshin rotated like a tornado, forming a spiritual power vortex. It rotated faster and faster, absorbing more and more spiritual power, and the size of the spiritual power swelled at a speed visible to the naked eye. In a few breaths, it swelled to the point that Yun Yongzhu's danshin could not accommodate it. This spiritual power kept rotating, and Yun Yongzhu only felt that there was a knife in his lower abdomen, scraping the inner wall of his danshin, and he was sweating all over from the pain. Despite this, Yun Yongzhu still endured the severe pain, and used the quenching spirit art to temper the spiritual power in the danshin. After the tempering, he relieved a little pain. However, this spiritual power vortex swelled again as it continued to absorb spiritual power. Yun Yongzhu had not yet reached his limit, so he used the spirit tempering technique to temper all his spiritual power. However, just after the second spirit tempering technique was completed, the spiritual power vortex in his danshin became larger. The Danshin could not contain it, and the spiritual power overflowed and flowed to his limbs. Yun Yongzhu's whole body swelled up, as if he was about to explode. Yun Yongzhu did not take any more risks, and stopped the spirit tempering technique, and used all his spiritual consciousness to suppress the spiritual power in the meridians. After Yun Yongzhu forced all the spiritual power back to the Danshin, he lost weight. However, by doing so, Yun Yongzhu felt more severe pain all over his body. He tried to continue to use his spiritual consciousness to suppress the spiritual power in the Danshin to liquefy it. But no matter how Yun Yongzhu pressed, the spiritual power vortex still showed no signs of liquefaction. He guessed that, as Master Huang Chengsheng said, more spiritual power was needed to support his advancement. Yun Yongzhu endured the pain and waited for the spiritual power vortex to continue absorbing spiritual energy. Suddenly, the endless spiritual energy disappeared, and the high-speed rotating spiritual energy vortex could not absorb spiritual energy, and its speed slowed down a little, showing that it was about to stop. Yun Yongzhu was shocked. If the spiritual energy vortex stopped, it would never be agitated again. Without thinking, he poured the bottle of 100-year-old spiritual milk in front of him into his mouth. This spiritual milk tasted slightly sweet, refreshing and delicious, and the fragrance was overflowing. Instantly, a large amount of spiritual energy appeared in Yun Yongzhu's body. Not only that, but even the intense pain generated by the inner wall of Danshin was also reduced a lot. Yun Yongzhu took the opportunity to try to compress the spiritual energy vortex in Danshin again, and this time he successfully reduced the spiritual energy vortex a little bit. Seeing that it was effective, Yun Yongzhu became more energetic and mobilized his consciousness to continue to compress the spiritual energy vortex. So the spiritual energy vortex absorbed the spiritual energy generated by the 100-year-old spiritual milk in the body, while being oppressed by Yun Yongzhu's consciousness. Yun Yongzhu didn't breathe a sigh of relief until a drop of liquid was compressed at the bottom of the spiritual energy vortex, that is, at the bottom of Danshin. The essence of advancing from the key training stage to the foundation building stage is to transform the spiritual power in the cultivator's body from gas to liquid. This process usually requires severe pain, a strong physique and outstanding perseverance. With this first drop of spiritual liquid, Yun Yongzhu felt much more relaxed. He only needed to use his spiritual consciousness to block the entrance and exit to the meridians. The spiritual power vortex seemed to have found a place to vent, and all the spiritual power absorbed into the Danshin was poured into this drop of liquid. Although this drop of spiritual liquid looked small, it was like a bottomless pit, and all spiritual power came without rejection. However, this drop of spiritual liquid was slowly growing under the continuous infusion of spiritual power. When it swelled 3 times, the spiritual power generated by the 100-year spiritual milk had been exhausted. Unable to absorb spiritual power, the speed of the spiritual power vortex in the Danshin gradually slowed down. Yun Yongzhu did not wait for it to stop, and pressed the spiritual power vortex into the drop of spiritual liquid until the spiritual power vortex entered the spiritual liquid completely, causing the spiritual liquid to swell a little more. It was not over yet. Yun Yongzhu started to practice the first level of the foundation building chapter of Burning Wood Art. His consciousness pulled the rice-sized spiritual liquid in his Danshin and started to run the great circulation to stabilize his realm. During this process, drops of sweat were discharged from the pores of Yun Yongzhu's body. The sweat was slightly black and had a sour and smelly smell that made people want to vomit. However, Yun Yongzhu was concentrating on practicing the technique at this time and could not smell this smell. These were all stubborn impurities and residual and poison in Yun Yongzhu's body. When Yun Yongzhu felt that his realm was stable, his body no longer had any sweat discharged, and his whole body was spotless and refreshed. In the practice room, Yun Yongzhu suddenly opened his eyes, exhaled a breath of turbid air, his face full of joy, and his body exuded the spiritual power pressure that only foundation building cultivators have. I finally succeeded in building my foundation. Although the foundation building stage is the second realm of cultivation, in the eyes of high-level cultivators, only cultivators who have built their foundation can be regarded as true immortal cultivators, who have been reborn from the ashes. Because cultivators in the key training stage are not much different from ordinary people, they can live for more than 100 years at most, but ordinary people who take good care of themselves and have good luck can also live for more than 100 years. Building a foundation is the real way to enter the ranks of immortal cultivators. Yun Yongzhu thought about how he started practicing at the age of 6, and then came to the sect, and worked hard every day, and finally succeeded in building his foundation today. Feeling the power of the drop of spiritual liquid in his danshan, he felt extremely happy. Even if he suddenly smelled a foul odor coming from his body, it did not affect Yun Yongzhu's good mood. He casually cast a cleansing technique on himself, and instantly noticed the difference from before. Yun Yongzhu tried to cast a water ball technique again, and then ran the spiritual power in his body, and was surprised to find that his spiritual power was 10 times more than before the foundation. It was the same amount of spiritual power, but the power changed qualitatively from gas to liquid. Normally, after a cultivator builds his foundation, the spiritual power in his body will only increase 4 or 5 times at most. I think it's because my spiritual power before building my foundation was twice that of a cultivator of the same level, plus that drop of precious 100-year spiritual milk, so my spiritual power is more than double that of an ordinary cultivator as soon as I build my foundation. In addition, the biggest change is Yun Yongzhu's spiritual sense, which has increased several times. As long as it is within the range of his spiritual sense, Yun Yongzhu can easily store items in the storage bag. He closed his eyes and could clearly perceive everything in the training room. Yun Yongzhu could see the green jade tripod 3 feet away from him and could see the wall of the training room 3 feet away behind him. Because the space in the training room is limited, Yun Yongzhu is not sure about the farthest distance of his spiritual sense, but he has a hunch that it will be farther than that of cultivators of the same level. This time, Yun Yongzhu's foundation building was very smooth, except for the crisis of insufficient spiritual power supply encountered in the middle. Now that his realm had been stabilized, Yun Yongzhu could not wait to leave the training room. As soon as he left the training room, he sent out his spiritual sense, and he immediately knew everything within a radius of 66 meters. Chapter 166, Continuous Foundation Building 3. Yun Yongzhu was pleasantly surprised. As far as he knew, after the general cultivators established their foundation, their spiritual awareness range was only about 50 feet in radius, and the highest was only 51 feet in radius. With this spiritual awareness range that was much higher than that of the cultivators of the same level, Yun Yongzhu could not only control more magic weapons and spiritual tools when fighting against the cultivators of the same level, but also control the whole situation and gain an advantage with his powerful spiritual awareness. Moreover, with this powerful spiritual awareness, he could better sense the subtle changes in the medicine liquid in the alchemy furnace when refining the pill, and could more keenly detect impurities in the medicine liquid when quenching the medicine liquid, so as to calmly adjust the temperature during the alchemy, and control the rhythm of the alchemy. Both spiritual power and spiritual awareness far exceeded those of the cultivators of the same level. Yun Yongzhu opened his eyes with satisfaction. It seems that the foundation of this key training period is solid, and the gains after the foundation is also higher. However, not all cultivators can be like him. After all, not all cultivators' spirits are born far superior to ordinary people, and not all cultivators are as lucky as him, who can rely on his extraordinary talent to become a disciple of Jinden Zenran in the key training stage, and increase his spiritual power to more than twice that of cultivators of the same level. Yun Yongzhu did not go to find Wang Yiming, who was tending to the spiritual fruit trees in the spiritual fruit garden. After sending a sound transmission note to his master, he could not wait to rush to the lotus peak. This time, he did not perform the cloud soaring technique or sacrifice the flowing light wings, but directly used his spiritual power to lift himself up. Yun Yongzhu felt the consumption of his spiritual power while flying in the air. According to his estimation, he could only last for about an hour at most by using spiritual power to fly in the air directly. It seems that he needs to practice the air flying technique as soon as possible. Yun Yongzhu thought silently. The air flying technique is a technique that can only be practiced by cultivators with a cultivation level above the foundation establishment stage, and it is also the basic walking technique for foundation building cultivators. The speed of the air flying technique is about twice that of the cloud flying technique. Performing the air control technique can save more spiritual power than using spiritual power to fly directly, and can at least increase the flying time by 6 or 7 times. Lotus Peak is very close to Piomio Peak. Yun Yongzhu flew in the air for only an instant of time and saw the lotus-shaped spiritual peak in sight. Lotus Peak is a spiritual peak with a second grade upper grade spiritual vein. Its height has exceeded 2,000 feet. If it grows another 1 or 200 feet, it can be upgraded to a third grade lower grade spiritual peak. However, 1 or 200 feet doesn't sound like much, and it is not easy to grow. Without thousands of years of nourishment, the spiritual vein cannot be upgraded. The reason why the spiritual peak can continue to grow is because there is a spiritual vein in the mountain. When the spiritual vein is upgraded, the spiritual peak will naturally grow and upgrade accordingly. The reason why the deacon in the foundation building period arranged Yun Yongzhu in this lotus peak is also because the spiritual vein of this spiritual peak is about to be upgraded to a third grade lower grade, and the spiritual energy surging in its spiritual cave is very pure. Yun Yongzhu rented the spiritual cave where Yun Dachin and his wife built their foundation, so of course he knew where it was. The spiritual veins of all spiritual peaks will not appear at the highest point, that is, the top of the peak. Qingshan sect usually builds a hall at the top or foot of some spiritual peaks as a place for the sect to handle affairs. The spiritual cave where Yun Yongzhu's parents built their foundation is about 300 feet below the main hall of Lotus Peak. There are two spiritual caves that are close to each other. He saw several buildings under the main hall from the sky above Lotus Peak. Yun Yongzhu landed and searched for a while before finding the cave courtyard he rented. Passing through a transparent and invisible warning ban, Yun Yongzhu saw Yun Zuxuan guarding outside a house in the courtyard. Yun Zuxuan was surprised to see that the person coming was Yun Yongzhu, because he clearly felt the spiritual power fluctuations that only foundation building cultivators would have from the other party. Xiaojiu, you have successfully built your foundation. Yun Yongzhu smiled and nodded. 25 great-grandfather, the child lives up to everyone's expectations. Haha. Haha. With the blessing of our ancestors, our Yunwu mountain has a successor. Although he had expected this scene, Yun Zuxuan was still very excited and a little sad. This child relied entirely on himself to build his foundation. The clan did not help at all. Even the foundation building pills of the two younger generations, Yun Dachin and Yang Lia, were obtained by Xiaojiu at the risk of his life. The family really owed Xiaojiu a lot. Xiaojiu, I didn't expect you to succeed in building your foundation in less than a month. Yun Yongzhu was not very clear about this. He had lost his sense of time in the training room and rushed to Lotus Peak as soon as he successfully built his foundation. After Yun Yongzhu's inquiry, he learned that 25 days had passed since he entered the training room. Grandfather 25th, is it my father or my mother who is building the foundation here? Why haven't they come out yet? It's Chena's wife is in the spiritual cave 100 feet below. Don't worry, it takes several years for a cultivator to build a foundation. Besides, you have prepared so much for them, they will definitely be able to successfully build a foundation. Yun Zuxuan said with great confidence. Yun Yongzhu remembered that he had prepared 3 high-grade foundation building pills for both his father and mother, and even obtained 2 second-level low-grade blood clotting pills that increase the blood and ki of cultivators to assist them in building their foundations. There was no reason for them to fail in building their foundations, so he put down his worries. By the way, Xiaojiu, have you told Senior Huang about your successful foundation building? Grandfather 25th, I sent a sound transmission note to my master as soon as I left the training room and told him about coming to Lotus Peak. Well, that's good. So Yun Yongzhu stayed at Lotus Peak, waiting with Yun Zuxuan and Yun Zuxuan for Yun Dachin and his wife to build their foundations and come out of retreat. 5 days later, Yun Yongzhu and Yun Zuxuan were resting their minds outside the training room, where Yun Dachin was building his foundation, when they suddenly heard the sound of the door being pushed open. Turning their heads, they saw that it was Yun Dachin who had come out of retreat, and a strong spiritual pressure was emanating from his body, which was the unique pressure of the foundation building period. Dat. Chena. Grandpa 25, Zua, I have successfully built my foundation. Haha. Yun Dachin's face was filled with joy and excitement that he could not hide. He had finally successfully built his foundation within 60 years, greatly extending his lifespan. Chenna, we saw that Xiaojiu successfully built his foundation 5 days earlier than you. Son, thanks to you, otherwise Yun Yongzhu did not let him continue. Dad, you are my father. I'm willing to do anything for you. Good son. By the way, has your mother come out of retreat? There is no news from Brother 9 yet. We may have to wait for a while. Let's go and have a look together. Just when they were about to go downstairs, they received a message from Yun Yongzhu saying that Yang Liu had successfully come out of retreat. The three of them immediately rushed over excitedly. Sure enough, Yang Liu, like Yun Yongzhu, could not suppress the spiritual pressure around her body. This is because they have just established their foundation and are not familiar with the spiritual power that has suddenly increased exponentially. In a few days, they will be like Yun Yongzhu and will be able to freely restrain their spiritual power fluctuations and spiritual power pressure. Do you mind if I change all the previous parts, not the content, just the paragraphs? There are many very long paragraphs in the front. Chapter 167, Immortal Fate City. Several people happily returned to Yun Yongzhu's cave on Biomio Peak and discussed the next things. Xiaojiu, our purpose of coming to Qingshan sect has been achieved. Next, we are going to return to Yunwu Mountain. Will you go back with us, or will you return to the family by yourself after a while? In any case, Yun Yongzhu had to return to the family to hold a foundation building ceremony after successfully building his foundation. After all, whether it was the family members or other family cultivators and independent cultivators in Yongzhou, they were all paying attention to the news of his foundation building. Moreover, the news of his apprenticeship to Jiandan had not spread in Yongzhou, and even only a few people in his family knew about it. Yun Yongzhu had considered this matter a long time ago. According to his plan, he was going to return to the family with them after building his foundation. However, plans cannot keep up with changes. He did not expect that his master's wife Guana actually formed a golden elixir in just over a year ahead of him in building his foundation. 25th great-grandfather, my master's wife will hold a golden elixir ceremony in 2 months. I really can't go back to Yunwu Mountain now. I will go back after the ceremony. Yun Yongzhu's words reminded everyone. Look at me, I was so happy that I was so dizzy that I only wanted to return to the family as soon as possible to tell the clan members that Xiaojiu had successfully established his foundation and forgot this important matter. Xiaojiu's master's wife's Jiandan ceremony, our Yun family in Yunwu Mountain cannot miss it anyway. What the 25th brother said makes sense. As Xiaojiu's clan members, how can we ignore his master's wife after she has formed a golden elixir? Doesn't this mean that Xiaojiu doesn't care about them? Yun Yongzhu actually wanted them to stay and attend the Jiandan ceremony of his master's wife Guana. Both sides are his close people, and he certainly hopes that the relationship between the two sides can be closer. In addition, as the two great-grandfathers said, as the master's beloved disciple, he usually dotes on his master's wife the most. During the golden elixir ceremony, his elder clan members returned to the family leisurely. How would the master and his wife think? That's the best. We'll go back to Yunwu Mountain after master's wife's golden elixir ceremony. By the way, grandfather 25th, from what you said just now, you don't plan to announce the news of your parents' foundation building? Yun Yongzhu had a helpless smile on his face. Yes, our Yunwu Mountain has always been the bottom of Yongzhou. Now that 3 foundation building cultivators have suddenly appeared, I'm afraid the other 4 major families will unite to boycott our family, like they did 200 years ago. After all, our Yun family is an outsider. We have only been operating in Yongzhou for more than 200 years. From beginning to end, there have only been 3 foundation building cultivators. The appearance of 3 foundation building cultivators at once is not what other families want to see. The reason why the news of your foundation building is announced is that you are in Qingshan sect, which is 108,000 miles away from Yongzhou. Although other families are a little afraid, they will not have too much sense of crisis because of this. In fact, this is ultimately due to the problem of resources, because after the cultivators have built their foundations, they need more resources to assist in their cultivation. If other families knew that Yunwu Mountain had 2 new foundation building cultivators, they would worry that the Yun family would occupy more cultivation resources in Yunzhou. Yunzhou was originally only this big, and if all the resources were taken by the Yun family, other families would have less resources. Yun Yongzhu's life in the sect could not be said to be very good, but it was smooth sailing. Since he became a disciple, he did not have to think too much. He did not expect that there were so many twists and turns in such a small place as Yunzhou. I see. By the way, 25th great-grandfather, 3rd great-grandfather, what are your plans for the remaining foundation building pills? As Yun Zuxuan and Yun Zuxan thought, Yun Dachan and his wife only used 1 pill to successfully build their foundation. So, there are still 5 foundation building pills left. Why, Xiaojiu, do you have any ideas? No, but I have some small suggestions. Well, tell me. Then I'll tell you. I just hope that the family can formulate a set of methods to exchange for foundation building pills, such as what to do for the family, how many family contribution points are needed, etc. Yun Yongzhu knew that in the past, the family would select 1 or 2 clan members with decent spiritual roots, train them with all their strength, and plan to build a foundation for one of them, but did not require the clan member to pay any price. But now the situation is different. There are 5 foundation building pills, and they must be arranged well. It can't be like before, always giving other clan members a hope of promotion, so that they will practice more diligently and cherish it. If the foundation building pill is well preserved, it can be stored for 300 to 500 years. Now there are 5 foundation building cultivators in the family. I think the most urgent task is to do everything possible to increase the number of cultivators in the family. The 4 people nodded repeatedly after hearing this. What you said makes sense. We'll discuss these things in detail after we return to the family. Now let's talk about Senior Gu's golden elixir ceremony. Xiaojiu, have you prepared any congratulatory gifts? Speaking of this, Yun Yongzhu's face turned bitter. As a Chindan Zenran, Master has all kinds of good things, even the 100 years spiritual milk. As her Taoist partner, Guwana has seen all kinds of good things. Not yet, I really don't have anything good. I've been thinking about it for 5 days, but I don't know what to prepare. It's hard to prepare. We came in a hurry and only have spiritual stones on us. Xiaojiu, is there any place in Qingshan sect where we can buy precious spiritual objects? Yun Yongzhu thought about it. Although Wanbei Pavilion is said to have 10,000 treasures, the precious things inside require sect points to exchange. As for the small markets in the sect, they are mainly places for low-level cultivators to trade, and it is impossible for them to have any good things. Suddenly, Yun Yongzhu's eyes lit up, and he thought of a good place. Have you 2 great-grandfathers heard of Xianyuan City? Yun Zuxuan and Yun Zuxan reacted as soon as they heard it. Yes, how could I forget this place? This Xianyuan City is not far from Qingshan sect. We can go there to find out if there are any suitable spiritual objects to give to Senior Gu. I have only heard of Xianyuan City. I have been to Qingshan sect so many times, but I have never seen the world. Not to mention you, the 25th great-grandfather. I have never been to Qingshan sect in all these years. Xianyuan City is a big city for cultivating immortals. Almost all of them are cultivators. There are many foundation building cultivators coming and going in this city, and even Chindan Zenran appear from time to time. Yun Yongzhu thought that a city of this level should be able to find suitable gifts. Then let's set off for Xianyuan City tomorrow. Although Xianyuan City is only 1,000 miles away from Qingshan sect, they can go back and forth in just one day, but they still need to spend time looking for suitable treasures. Wait a couple of days. Let my parents and I practice the air control technique, and then we can prepare. Well, you guys have just established your foundation, so it's better to be cautious. Let's set off in 3 days. With Yun Zuxuan's decision, several people went to make preparations. Chapter 168 Foundation Building True Fire. Yun Yongzhu went to Piomio residence. Greetings, Master. Great, I finally established my foundation. How are your parents? Thank you for your concern, Master. My parents have also successfully established their foundation. I also want to thank you for the 100 years spiritual milk you prepared for me. Otherwise I would not have been able to successfully establish my foundation this time. You used it? It seems that my guess is right. In any case, I'm glad that you have successfully established your foundation. I see that your spiritual power is restrained, which should have stabilized your realm. Here are several spells and pill recipes that are required for foundation building cultivators. Go back and learn the spells as soon as possible. There is also the second level superior purple gold alchemy furnace, which is the alchemy furnace that I used during the foundation building period. You can use it. As your cultivation improves, you must not fall behind in alchemy. You need to ignite the true fire as soon as possible. The inner fire of a foundation building cultivator is generally called the true fire. A cultivator cannot directly generate inner fire in the dungeon when he advances to the foundation building period. Generally, the cultivator needs to ignite it himself. Moreover, only cultivators who practice high-level fire attributed techniques are qualified to ignite the true fire after building their foundation. Most other cultivators only have their own internal fire, called Yun fire, after they have formed the elixir. Yun Yongzhu took the jade slips and a delicate and small purple alchemy furnace that his master handed to him one after another. Master, I understand. After collecting the 3 kinds of fire attributed spiritual woods, I will start to ignite the true fire. The spiritual objects that each cultivator needs to prepare to ignite the true fire are different, and they are usually mentioned in their cultivation techniques. As for Yun Yongzhu, what he needs are 3 different kinds of fire attributed spiritual woods. Huang Changsheng heard him say this, thought about it, and said, "Wait here." Then he went into his bedroom. Yun Yongzhu waited in the yard for a long time before Huang Changsheng came out. "Xiaojiu, do you think this piece of fenkitang is suitable for use?" Yun Yongzhu took it and used his spiritual sense to sense it for a moment and nodded quickly. This is a 3rd level lower grade fire attributed spiritual wood. Although the branches that have just been cut from the spiritual wood are needed to ignite the true fire, this piece of fenkitang is obviously well preserved, and the wood and fire energy in it are still very abundant. Since it is suitable, then use it. This piece of fenkitang has been in my hands for nearly 80 years. If you hadn't mentioned today that you needed a fire attributed spiritual wood, I wouldn't have remembered it, but it took me a long time to find it. Then I won't be polite to you. Yun Yongzhu thanked Huang Changsheng and quickly put it into the storage bag, fearing that Huang Changsheng would regret it. Fenkitang is a spiritual wood inferior to the fire attributed sacred wood Wutang wood. The piece in Huang Changsheng's hand is big enough to refine a small fire attributed treasure. Yun Yongzhu didn't believe that the master would forget such a precious spiritual wood. It is easy to find this fire attribute spiritual wood. For example, when he was in the key training stage, the spiritual wood fuels that he often used to make elixirs, such as the red sunwood and the burning sunwood, and even the Qingyang wood that was often used to build bookshelves and bookcases, are all fire attribute spiritual wood. However, the higher the grade of the spiritual wood that ignites the true fire, the better, which is related to the quality of one's own true fire. Yun Yongzhu hopes to do his best to use better spiritual wood to ignite the true fire, so that the quality of his true fire will be higher. Seeing Yun Yongzhu's eagerness, Huang Changsheng also smiled. Master has specially prepared a 2nd level upper grade spiritual weapon, the red feather fan, for you. This is a fire attribute attack spiritual weapon. Master gives it to you for self-defense. Yun Yongzhu looked at the mini fiery red feather fan that Huang Changsheng took out of the storage bag and liked it very much. Before it was in his hand, Yun Yongzhu could feel the strong spiritual fluctuations emitted by the red feather fan. "Xiaojiu, take it over. What are you standing there for?" "Thank you, master." Yun Yongzhu thanked him solemnly before taking the red feather fan. Seeing that his master was fine, Yun Yongzhu told Huang Changsheng that he was going out for a month or 2. Huang Changsheng thought he was going to look for a fire attributed spiritual wood, so he didn't ask any more questions. "Since you are going out, I will give you one more thing to say. It is better to disguise yourself this time. Do you still have the Shapa shifting pill I gave you last time? Take it before going out." Yun Yongzhu was puzzled, so Huang Changsheng explained it to him. It turned out that it was because of the foundation building pill. Although few people know that you have obtained 8 foundation building pills, it is hard to escape the eyes and ears of those who have ulterior motives. You have been staying in the sect before. With me in charge at Piomio Peak, these monsters dare not show up. Once those evil people know that you have left the sect, I don't know what they will do to you. Outside the secret realm, Yun Yongzhu's number of foundation building pills is already the largest, and he also handed in a 4th grade top grade spiritual medicine, the illusion god flower. So in the eyes of all the disciples who have left the secret realm, Yun Yongzhu must have obtained the most foundation building pills. Others had fewer foundation building pills, so they took them all by themselves. Only Yun Yongzhu had extraordinary qualifications and so many foundation building pills, so he must have extra foundation building pills in his hands. Fearing the majesty of Jinden Zenren, no sect cultivator dared to trouble him. Yun Yongzhu's expression became serious when he heard his master say this. Years of comfortable life made him relax his vigilance. Thank you for your advice, master. I know what to do now. Well, that's good to know. Be safe. Let's go down the mountain. After bidding farewell to his master Huang Chengsheng, Yun Yongzhu returned to his own practice room in the courtyard of Loyun Hall. The purple gold furnace could not be used at this time, so he first sacrificed the most precious top-grade spiritual weapon, the red feather fan, and branded it with the spiritual consciousness mark, and then stored it in his dantian for nourishment. If he had not been in the practice room, Yun Yongzhu would have to test the power of this 2nd grade top grade spiritual weapon. Now he has a top grade spiritual weapon and 2 high grade spiritual weapons. Even some cultivators in the late stage of foundation building don't have such a price. Yun Yongzhu thought to himself, and then took out the jade slips given by his master, and looked at them one by one. There are 2 recipes among them. One is the 2nd level dueling pill recipe and the other is the 2nd level Muan pill recipe. Yun Yongzhu knew that the dueling pill was a pill for cultivators in the foundation building period to improve their spiritual power and assist in cultivation. This pill is like the key gathering pill and is suitable for all cultivators after the foundation building. However, he had never heard of the Muan pill. Judging from the name of the pill, it should contain the 2 attributes of wood and fire. Yun Yongzhu remembered that the burning wood art he practiced was a method of using wood attribute spiritual power to boost fire attribute spiritual power. The pills could not be refined in the furnace now, so Yun Yongzhu thought about it and put away the 2 jade slips first. There were 5 jade slips left in his hand, which were respectively engraved with air control technique, fire snake technique, flame shield, every tree and grass sea soldiers and golden gang cover. The fire snake art is a 2nd level attacking spiritual art, and its power, after being cast, far exceeds that of ordinary 1st level spells and magic. The flame shield and the golden armor cover are both 2nd level defensive spiritual arts, but one is of the fire attribute, and the other is of the gold attribute. Compared with the 2, the defensiveness of the golden armor cover is undoubtedly higher. As for the air control art, it is a basic spiritual art for foundation building cultivators to travel. Although there are many people who practice it, few people can use it. Because even the most impoverished foundation building cultivators who cannot afford a flying spiritual tool can always buy a flying magic tool to travel. However, the air control art also has its advantages, which is that it is very energy saving. After a spell is cast, it can be maintained for 7 or 8 hours easily. The key is that this 2nd level spiritual art is very simple to practice, and you can get started in 3 to 5 days. Yun Yongzhu is most interested in the 2nd level spiritual art called Every Tree and Grass Sees Enemies, and I don't know how powerful it is. Among these spiritual arts, the most difficult one for Yun Yongzhu to practice should be the golden armor cover. Yun Yongzhu thought that he would go out soon, so he should increase his attack power first. So he put the jade slip with fire snake technique on his forehead and began to comprehend it. While Yun Yongzhu was comprehending fire snake technique, his father and mother were also busy. They also got a few magic formulas from Yun Zuxun and began to prepare for going to Xianyuan City. After rushing and hurrying, it was finally coded. Chapter 169 Arriving at Xianyuan City. In the following time, Yun Yongzhu practiced these second level spiritual arts day and night, and finally practiced the air control art to the entry level, before leaving the sect. As for the other magic formulas and spiritual arts, time was tight. Yun Yongzhu could only find time to slowly comprehend and practice them in the future. Anyway, he did not lack spiritual weapons for attack at this time, and he also had the second level top grade silkworm armor given by his master for defense. On the morning of the third day, in the practice room, Yun Yongzhu was counting his finances. The total number of spiritual stones is more than 59,300. I don't know if it is enough. By the way, the harvest from the secret realm has not been processed yet, and this year's annual bonus has not been collected yet. At this time, it has been nearly 2 years since Yun Yongzhu left Zuanshan secret realm. He had already collected last year's annual bonus, and this year he thought that he might be able to build a foundation, so he kept dragging it on. Because his annual bonus, after building a foundation, is 6,000 spiritual stones. Thinking of this, Yun Yongzhu was very happy, because this time he went to Xianyuan City, not only to find gifts for his beloved master's wife Guana, but also to upgrade his equipment according to the actual situation. Originally, Yun Yongzhu wanted to buy the spiritual tools for attack and the furnace for alchemy. However, his master had solved these problems, so Yun Yongzhu wanted to change his flying tools. The flowing light wing was only a first-class medium-grade magic tool. Because its speed was comparable to that of ordinary high-grade flying tools, Yun Yongzhu had been using it even in the late stage of key training. However, now that he has established his foundation, the speed of the flowing light wing cannot keep up with his realm. When he cultivates the air control art to the great success realm in the future, even if he directly uses the air control art to fly, the speed will not be much worse than using the flowing light wing. As for the defensive spiritual tools, there is no rush. He has the second-class defensive Inaramishian Kanama given to him by his master Huang Chengsheng for self-defense. This set of Shian Kanama can be said to be the most precious item on Yun Yongzhu's body. Even if he advances to the golden core stage, he can still use it. He still had more than 10,400 points left in his sect. With this year's annual bonus, he would have more than 65,000 in savings. When Xianyuan City finished processing the harvest from the secret realm, it should be enough to buy a sincere gift for his master's wife. Yun Yongzhu instantly gave up the idea of exchanging these points for spirit stones. He put all the items into the storage bag, and then went to the lobby, to meet up with the 25th grandfather and the others. Nineth grandfather, 25th grandfather, father, and mother, you go to Xianyuan City first, I will follow. If we don't meet, I will see you in Xianyuan City. Oh, by the way, don't be too surprised when you see me again. Seeing the puzzled eyes of the 4 people, Yun Yongzhu explained, I will disguise myself then. So the 4 people did not question Yun Yongzhu anymore, and left Piomio Peak, and went outside Kingshan sect. After they left, Yun Yongzhu went to the nearby Wallen Peak. He entered the hall, found the deacon, and successfully received the annual bonus of 6,000 spirit stones for the first year after his foundation building. Junior brother Yun, your aptitude is really excellent. You have successfully established your foundation so quickly. Congratulations. Please count it. This is your annual gift this year. The deacon's tone was full of envy. He took out a large pile of spirit stones and spread them all over the side hall. Yun Yongzhu used his spiritual sense to carefully check, and the number of spirit stones came to his mind. No more, no less than 6,000 spirit stones. Thank you, senior brother Wang. Junior brother Yun, why are you polite? This is my duty. I heard that there is a trading event in Xianyuan City recently. I wonder if junior brother Yun will go to join in the fun. Although the tone of the man's question was very casual, as if it was just a casual question, Yun Yongzhu still raised his vigilance. Seeing that Yun Yongzhu showed a little defensive look, the other party immediately explained. It turned out that he wanted to ask Yun Yongzhu to refine the elixir, fearing that he would not have time to go out of the sect. In the world of immortal cultivation, cultivators generally taboo unfamiliar people to inquire about their whereabouts. So although the other party had explained, Yun Yongzhu still did not tell him the truth. I wonder what kind of elixir senior brother Wang wants me to refine, and what grade? To be honest with you, I have just established my foundation and have not yet ignited the true fire. I can only refine first grade elixirs at present. Junior brother Yun, you are too modest. Although I did not go to the alchemy competition a few years ago, I have heard of your outstanding performance in the competition. But I'm not in a hurry. I'm still short of one ingredient for the elixir. I'm worried that I will prepare all the ingredients and you will disappear. Then don't worry, senior brother Wang. I will stay in the sect during this period. So, when you prepare all the ingredients, come to my cave Loyan Hall on Piomio Peak to find me. I will do my best to help you refine the elixir, as a thank you to senior brother Wang for arranging 2 second grade high quality spirit caves for me before. Yun Yongzhu lied without blinking. He remembered the advice his master gave him, and felt that it was better to be cautious. After that, Yun Yongzhu returned to Piomio Peak. After staying in Loyan Hall for half an hour, he took the Shapa shifting pill, and left the sect to chase Yun Yongzhu and the other 4. Although Yun Yongzhu's air control art was only at the entry level, his speed was not bad. While flying in the direction of Xianyuan City, he used his spiritual sense to check the surroundings to see if there were any sect cultivators secretly following him. After leaving the territory of Qingshan sect and making sure that no one was following him, Yun Yongzhu sacrificed the flowing light wings. This flying magic weapon is his standard equipment. If the people in the sect saw it, they would definitely guess that it was him, so he didn't use it at the beginning. The speed of using the flowing light wings to travel is not comparable to the air control art that has just been introduced, and his spiritual power consumption is also less. The speed of Yun Yongzhu and the other 4 was not fast. First, it was because Yun Yongzhu was with 4 adult cultivators, which consumed a lot of spiritual power. Second, he was not very familiar with the road to Xianyuan City, and was afraid of going in the wrong direction. Third, the 4 wanted to wait for Yun Yongzhu. 2 hours later, when the 4 of them were resting, and Yun Yongzhu was recovering his spiritual power, Yun Yongzhu finally caught up. Xiaojiu, why did it take you so long to catch up? I was afraid that we took the wrong road or missed it. 25 Great Grandpa, you didn't take the wrong road. You went in this direction. Although Yun Yongzhu had never been to Xianyuan City, it was so close to the sect, and he knew its location roughly. Next, Yun Yongzhu also entered Yun Yongzhu's flying spiritual tool, the black-sailed boat. Although the black-sailed boat could change its size, it consumed more of Yun Yongzhu's spiritual power, but the speed was not greatly affected. After about an hour, Xianyuan City was in sight. Xianyuan City was built on a very huge mountain range. Although there was no 3rd level spiritual vein, there were many 2nd level spiritual veins. The 5 people saw the magnificent city from afar and were amazed. This Xianyuan City is actually bigger than the cities I have seen in the southern wilds. No wonder it can attract so many cultivators. Yun Yongzhu was quite surprised to hear that his 9th grandfather had been to the southern wilds. When the black-sailed boat approached Xianyuan City, many cultivators could be seen coming in and out. Looking at the escape lights of the cultivators traveling to and from Xianyuan City, it can be found that there are many cultivators in the key training stage, but there are also many cultivators in the foundation building stage. The black-sailed boat stopped 10 miles outside Xianyuan City, because Xianyuan City had obviously set up a large-scale airband formation. The 5 people followed the crowd to the city gate and each paid a fee of 10 spirit stones for the city entrance. After entering the city gate, they felt that the city was very prosperous, and there were endless cultivators coming and going. It would be great if I could open a store in this Xianyuan City. Yun Yongzhu couldn't help but sigh. 25th brother, you are really bold. How can the family have such a large capital to open a store in this huge city, and this place is so far away from the family? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170, Leasing a Cave. Yun Yongzhu disagreed with his 9th brother's words. After 100 years, the family may not be unable to open a store here. 9th brother, have you ever thought that in just a dozen years, 3 foundation building cultivators would appear in the family at the same time. This question really stumped Yun Yongzhu. Yes, before he went into seclusion, the family was still in trouble both internally and externally, and was heavily in debt. 13 years later, when he came out of seclusion, the family was already thriving. Not only did it add 2 profitable industries, spiritual wine and elixirs, but other families also competed to make friends with it. The most important thing was that an outstanding younger generation, Yun Yongzhu, appeared in the family. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but say, yes, who can predict what will happen in the future? Maybe it is really possible to spread the family's industry here. After saying that, he patted Yun Yongzhu on the shoulder. But this depends on Xiaojiu. As long as he can form a golden elixir. 9th brother is right. Yun Dachan and his wife followed them side by side. Although they didn't say anything, they had smiles on their faces, and were very proud in their hearts. As they were talking, a cultivator in the middle stage of key training came forward respectfully and asked, "Seniors, do you need a guide?" He looked like he often solicited customers like this. Yun Yongzhu nodded and said, "I was just looking for someone to ask. You came at the right time." This Xianyuan city was really too big. At this time, several people were just walking blindly along the main road into the city. "Senior, I have been a guide in Xianyuan city for more than 10 years. I'm very familiar with Xianyuan city. If you have anything you want to ask, just tell me. How much does it cost?" There are guides in every place, but the fee standards are high and low. This is Xianyuan city, where cultivators gather, so it must not be as cheap as in small places. Sure enough, the man smiled and said, "Senior, don't worry, I won't charge you more. I only need 20 spirit stones to take you around Xianyuan city. If you need a mount, you have to pay extra." From his tone, the price was not high, but from Yun Yongzhu's experience, this was the highest guide fee he had ever seen. Sure. What do those seniors want to do in Xianyuan city? I can lead the way for them. We want to buy spiritual tools and gold attributed refining materials, preferably those that can be used by Jindan Zenran. Yun Yongzhu's master's wife Guana's main practice is gold attributed. To purchase spiritual tools, it is best to go to the magic weapon street in the south of the city. There are all shops selling magic tools there, and they also sell various spiritual materials and minerals for refining magic tools. You can find any spiritual tools you need there, and even treasures used by Jindan Zenran are sold. As for gold attributed refining materials, there are many places to buy them, but it is not easy to buy those that can be used by Jindan Zenran. Seniors, if you are not in a hurry, you can wait for another month. Xianyuan city will hold a large auction in a month. Several people were very interested in the large auction he mentioned, and listened to him talk about it. It turned out that this auction was led by Jubao's Hay, and participated in by all the forces in Xianyuan city. The auction was held at the martial arts arena in the center of Xianyuan city, because only there was enough space to accommodate the monks who came to participate in the auction. The time of this auction is irregular, and it is usually led by Jubao's Hay. What is the origin of this Jubao's Hay? The origin of Jubao's Hay is very mysterious. I heard that even Wanbao Pavilion is very secretive about it. Many Jindan Zenran will go to Jubao's Hay to buy magic weapons and elixirs. Xiaojiu, have you heard of this Jubao's Hay? Yun Yongzhu shook his head. He had never heard of this force. It seems that the water in Xianyuan city is very deep. Senior, do you want to wait a month to participate in the auction, or go to buy spiritual weapons and magic weapons now? Yun Yongzhu and others discussed for a while, and decided to stay for a month. We have decided to wait for a month, so you can take us to where we are staying now. Also, do we need any tickets to participate in the auction? Senior, please follow me first. I will lead the way, and explain the matters of the Xianyuan city auction to you. The man said as he walked, and led the others to the east. Through his narration, Yun Yongzhu and the others also had a general understanding of the auction. The basic threshold for participating in this auction is that the cultivation must reach the foundation building stage. No tickets are required, but each person needs to pay an entrance fee of 100 spirit stones. If you want to bring low-level cultivators into the auction to gain experience, you can pay the entrance fee in full. After half an hour, the man led the others to a separate courtyard. Senior, This is Siphon Mountain's shop. Siphon Mountain's main business is the rental and sale of cave dwellings, inns, spiritual fields, and spiritual veins. Siphon Mountain values integrity the most when doing business and never deceives customers. Moreover, the prices are high and low, and there must be a place suitable for you to stay. The guide led a few people into the lobby of the courtyard with familiarity. They saw a middle-aged Foundation establishment cultivator flipping through a thin booklet in the hall. When he looked up and saw Yun Yongzhu and his group, he immediately smiled. "Lu Xiaobi, it's you again. Business has been good recently." This is all thanks to the auction. Manager Wang, these seniors want to stay in Yuan City for a month. Please arrange a suitable place for them to stay. Okay, as usual, I'll give you 5 points if you succeed. Thank you, Manager Wang. Then Lu Xiaobi turned to Yun Yongzhu and said, "Senior, this Senior Wang is the manager of Siphon Mountain. You can talk to him about any requirements for this place." Then Lu Xiaobi withdrew very discerningly and waited for a few people. "Fellow Taoists, my surname is Wang, and I'm the manager of Siphon Mountain. You can tell me in detail any requirements you have for this cave, such as the grade of the spiritual vein, where the cave is located, the size of the cave, etc." Yun Yongzhu and others looked at Yun Yongzhu and Yun Yongzhu, waiting for them to make a decision. "We will only stay for a month, so let's arrange a cave house on a first-class upper-grade spiritual vein. By the way, there are 5 of us, and the place needs to be large, preferably a large courtyard, and it should be quiet. The price cannot be too high. These are the requirements for now. Manager Wang, please take a look and see if there is anything suitable." "Okay, I understand. Daoist friends, please wait." Then Manager Wang flipped through the thin booklet in his hand and then took out a jade talisman and cast a spell on the jade talisman. Immediately, a real building phantom appeared in front of everyone. "Daoists, please take a look. Does this courtyard meet your requirements? Although this cave house is not in Yuan City, it is less than 50 miles away from Yuan City, which is very convenient for Daoists to travel to Yuan City. Moreover, there are no spiritual veins around this cave house, and no cultivators have built cave houses. It is very quiet." The 5 people exchanged glances and felt that this courtyard met their requirements. "I wonder how much it costs." 600 spiritual stones a month. 600. Chapter 171 Prices in Yuan City. This price was not only for Yun Yongzhu and his men, but even Yun Yongzhu, who had a lot of assets, was shocked. A low-grade storage bag was only 300 spirit stones. If used to buy elixirs, 600 spirit stones could buy 2 high-grade spirit gathering pills. If used to buy key gathering pills, 40 high-grade pills could be bought, which could be used for more than 3 years. It would be appropriate to spend 600 spirit stones to rent a cave for a year, but they only live there for a month, and the rent would be 20 spirit stones per day. It was too expensive. Even if they had no experience in renting caves, they knew the approximate price. An average of 3 to 5 spirit stones per day was already the rent for a luxurious cave. Although they had no shortage of these 600 spirit stones, it didn't mean they had to be taken advantage of. Do you think that Wang Guanxi is just making a random offer because we are unfamiliar with him? Fellow Daoist, don't dare to say anything. Our Siphon Mountain is an old brand that specializes in leasing and trading caves and spiritual fields. How could we do something that damages our reputation for just 600 spiritual stones? Isn't this destroying our reputation? If you don't believe me, just stop a cultivator and ask him. If anyone says that the price I offer is outrageous, I will waive all your rental fees. Although they had never heard of the old brand Siphon Mountain that Wang Guanxi mentioned, he looked very confident and didn't seem to be lying to them. Several people looked at each other in bewilderment. Was it because they were too unsophisticated, or was it because the price level in Yuan City was just like that? Speaking of which, although they were just the children of a family in a remote state, they didn't worry about the cave for cultivation, because they had their own mountain gate spiritual veins. When they went out, they were either on the road or staying in the family store, so they had no experience in renting caves. Yun Yongzhu said, "Fellow Daoist Wang, I have some knowledge. Even the caves in the southern wilderness are not so expensive. Can you tell me why this price is reasonable?" Fellow Daoists, all the caves we rent in Siphon Mountain are equipped with defensive arrays and spirit gathering arrays. The bedrooms, kitchens, practice rooms, alchemy rooms, weapon refining rooms, and spirit beast rooms are all fully equipped. In addition, all the furniture and supplies are also available. As long as you rent it, you can move in directly without preparing anything. 600 spirit stones a month is really not expensive. There are even spirit fields, but they are of little use to fellow Daoists, so I won't go into details. Moreover, even if you rent caves and courtyards elsewhere, the price will not be much cheaper, and those are all spirit veins far away from the city, which are inevitably inconvenient to travel, and not very safe. There is an iron rule in Yuan City, that cultivators are not allowed to fight in places other than the martial arts field. This is what Lu Xiaobai emphasized to them on the way, so that they must not fight with others in Yuan City. Because once this iron rule is violated, once discovered, the person will be killed in public by the giant and Zenran. This has been verified many times. No one dares to risk his life. This is also the reason why the cultivators in the key training period in the city are relatively brave. Because of this iron rule, the land in Yuan City is very expensive. Having a cave, a spiritual field, or even just a residence without spiritual veins in the city can save a lot of cultivation resources for the cultivators. The cave recommended by Wang Guanxi of Siphon Mountain is so close to the city that it is undoubtedly much safer. This may be the reason why the rental price of this cave courtyard is so high. Wang Guanxi observed the expressions of several people and said gently, if you Taoist friends are short of money, it doesn't matter. We have many spiritual vein caves in Siphon Mountain. I just don't know what your expected price is. I will look for a suitable residence for you. Wang Guanxi was always gentle and polite, and did not change, because of the attitude of several people who thought the price was too high. Yun Yongzhu was persuaded, so he sent a message to Yun Zuxun and said, Grandpa 25th, why don't we rent this place? You see, the yard is quite big, and it's close to the city, very convenient, and much safer. Yun Zuxun felt that what Yun Yongzhu said made sense, and that shopkeeper Wang also said so many advantages. Okay, then, we'll rent this place. Since he agreed to rent it, Yun Zuxun was also very happy, and took out 600 spirit stones directly. Steward Wang's face suddenly smiled, and he didn't expect that the few people who were just haggling would be so straightforward in the blink of an eye. He scanned it with his spiritual sense, put away the spirit stones, and then took out a golden jade talisman and handed it to Yun Zuxun. Dao, this is the jade talisman that controls the formation of the cave house. Please keep it. If you lose it, you can't get a replacement. Lu Xiaobai knows the location of the cave house, just ask him to lead the way. Please return this jade talisman after a month, and you can renew the lease then. After putting away the jade talisman, the 5 people left the room. Senior, how is it? Did you rent the cave successfully? Do you need to look for it again? When Lu Xiaobai saw 5 people coming out of Siphon Mountain, he hurried forward and asked attentively. Well, we have already rented it. The cave is number 88, Southwest Sea. Oh, that's close senior. I'll take you there now. Yun Yongzhu said, grandfathers, parents, you go first. I'll go over later. I have something to buy. Okay, what do you want to buy? Ask this little friend Lu, so you don't have to look for it everywhere. Senior, what do you want to buy? As long as this Yuan City has it, there is no place that I, Lu Xiaobai, don't know. I want to buy some fire attributed spiritual wood. Do you know where I can buy it? Fire attributed spiritual wood can be found on the magic weapon street in the south of the city. Many shops use spiritual wood to refine the magic weapons. If you want to find a higher grade spiritual wood, go to the Bixin Magic Weapon Shop, Changqing Tower, Fijian Pavilion, Yang Spirit Material Shop, 5 Element Spirit Wood Shop, and Yuxin Refining Material Shop. These shops are all in the business of high level magic weapon spiritual materials, and they will definitely find what you want. Senior, you just need to go straight along this road and turn right at the first intersection. Yun Yongzhu followed Lu Xiaobai's instructions, turned 3 small bends and 2 big bends, and walked for nearly a quarter of an hour. As expected, he saw a long street in front of him. There were many monks on the street, going in and out of the magic weapon and refining material shops on both sides. Some had smiles on their faces, some had sad faces, and most had no expression. Yun Yongzhu sent away a self-recommended key training guide and walked into a shop at random. Immediately, a warm waiter came to greet him. "Senior, what type of magic weapon do you need? Our shop has everything." He was very arrogant. "Are there any spiritual weapons here? Flying spiritual weapons?" "Senior, we do have spiritual weapons, but unfortunately, we just sold out the last flying spiritual weapon. Can you accept a flying magic weapon?" The waiter said a little embarrassedly and shamelessly recommended other magic weapons. "No need. Do you have any high-level spiritual wood with fire attribute? I need at least the second level middle grade or above. Our shop just happens to be out of stock. They have all been refined into magic weapons with fire attribute." The clerk became more and more embarrassed. What Yun Yongzhu needed, their shop didn't have it. Yun Yongzhu didn't have much hope at first. After coming out, he went into 2 more shops that seemed to have good business. Unfortunately, these 2 shops only had the first level upper grade spiritual wood with fire attribute. Chapter 172, Spiritual Wood Gathering. After searching 3 magic weapon shops and not finding what he wanted, Yun Yongzhu had no choice but to walk along this long magic weapon street and look for the shops mentioned by Lu Xiaobi. After searching for a while, he finally saw one of the shops from a distance. 5-element spirit wood shop. "I hope it has what I need. Senior, please come in quickly. Are you going to buy magic weapons or spiritual wood?" Yun Yongzhu followed the clerk and said what he wanted. "I want to buy spiritual wood with fire attributes and high grade. Do you have any in your store?" "Yes, of course. If not, wouldn't our 5-element spirit wood shop be unworthy of its name?" "Senior, please sit down for a while. I will go and call our shopkeeper up." The clerk led him to a small reception room on the 2nd floor, served him a pot of spiritual tea, and then left. Yun Yongzhu never drank tea from strangers or unfamiliar places. He just looked at the teacup and the wooden table under the teapot, as well as the chair under his butt, and smelled the faint fragrance they exuded. After careful inspection, he found that all these tables and chairs were made of first-grade white sandalwood. It seemed that he could really look forward to it this time. Less than half an hour later, a cultivator who looked about 40 years old and whose cultivation level Yun Yongzhu could not see through hurriedly walked in. "Dao, I have been waiting for a long time. I'm the shopkeeper of the 5-element spirit wood shop. My surname is Zeng. You can call me shopkeeper Zeng." Yun Yongzhu quickly stood up and nodded slightly. "Shopkeeper Zeng, Yang has not been waiting for long." The 2 exchanged a few brief pleasantries and sat on the white sandalwood chairs respectively. "Dao Yang, the clerk just told me that you want to buy high-level fire-attributed spiritual wood, is that right?" "Yes. That's great. I have just gone to the warehouse to get the spiritual wood. Dao, take a look and see if it is what you need." After saying that, shopkeeper Zeng waved his hand and took out 3 pieces of spiritual wood about 4 inches long. Yun Yongzhu could feel the rich fire spirit energy from the spiritual wood, and he used his eyes to ask if he could observe the spiritual wood. After receiving the affirmative gesture, Yun Yongzhu picked up the 3 pieces of spiritual wood and carefully examined them. 2 of them were 2nd grade low grade spiritual wood, namely Hoang wood and Hanggang maple, and the remaining piece was 2nd grade medium grade torch wood. "Manager Zeng, is there any higher grade?" "Here, there is also a 2nd grade high grade phoenix wood, but it is too small." "How small?" "Not even as big as a fist." Yun Yongzhu was a little disappointed. The phoenix wood was very suitable for igniting his true fire, but it was too small. He did not ask about the 3rd grade spiritual wood. With his cultivation just building the foundation, even if someone had it, they would not sell it to him. It would be better to keep the 3rd grade spiritual wood for refining treasures for himself, so that the value can be maximized. "Excuse me, these spiritual wood grades are not suitable. Let me take a look." "No problem. If fellow Daoist Yang regrets, you are welcome to come again." Yun Yongzhu left the 5-element spiritual wood shop and entered the Yang spiritual material shop, but he did not find the spiritual wood he liked. He stood in front of a 3-story building, looking at the plaque made of first-grade high-quality spiritual wood, and he felt a little more expectant. This building is the Flying Sword Pavilion, which specializes in selling various flying sword magic weapons, as well as spiritual wood and spiritual minerals for refining flying sword magic weapons. Senior, what grade and style of flying sword do you need? The clerk naturally thought that Yun Yongzhu came to buy flying sword magic weapons. I don't buy flying swords. I want to ask if you have 2nd grade high quality fire attribute spiritual wood in your store? Yun Yongzhu asked directly. Yes senior, please follow me. The clerk almost didn't hesitate and directly answered him in the affirmative. Yun Yongzhu followed the clerk into a side hall with great expectation. Senior, please wait a moment. I can't make the decision on this transaction. I will call the shopkeeper to talk to you. Yun Yongzhu waved his hand, signaling him to go quickly. Soon an old man came in. Dao, I heard that you need a 2nd grade, top grade spiritual wood. Yes, it must be of fire attribute. Dao are very lucky. Yesterday, our Fijian pavilion just received a batch of fire attributed spiritual materials, including spiritual wood. Yun Yongzhu asked, shopkeeper, do you have what I want? Of course, otherwise I wouldn't have come. Dao, please look. Yun Yongzhu watched the old man take out a long, spiritual fire attributed spiritual wood from the storage bag. So long? This is fire fir wood, right? Dao, you have good eyesight. This is a 2nd grade, top grade fire fir wood. It was originally intended to be used to refine a top grade fire attributed spiritual sword, but now the materials for the spiritual sword are not ready yet, and Dao came to the door. How much is this fire fir wood? 1,000 spiritual stones. So expensive? Yun Yongzhu almost jumped up. The price was too outrageous. This was just a spiritual wood material, not a spiritual weapon. Fellow Daoist, please be patient. If you think the price is too high, you can bargain. In business, the price can be negotiated. How many spiritual stones do you think are appropriate? Yun Yongzhu avoided the shopkeeper's question and asked him instead. Shopkeeper, I only need a small piece of spiritual wood. I wonder if I can cut a small piece from it? I want to make this piece of spiritual wood into a flying sword. If it is too long, it won't work. How long do you need? 3 inches is enough. I wonder how many spiritual stones this 3-inch fire fir wood needs. This piece of fire fir wood is more than 4.5 feet long. Cutting off 3 inches will not affect its continued use. If you really want it, take 200 spirit stones. Shopkeeper, 200 spirit stones are too much. Logically, 100 spirit stones should be enough. You can't say that. I could have refined it into a longsword spirit weapon, but after cutting off this small section, I can only refine an ordinary spirit sword. Shopkeeper, that's not very kind. Although I'm not a weapon refiner, I know that a sword-shaped magic weapon usually only needs 3 feet and 6 inches. The shopkeeper of Fijian pavilion was speechless. He didn't expect Yun Yongzhu to have some common sense about weapon refinement. 100 spirit stones are too few. At least 110 pieces are needed. Deal. Yun Yongzhu walked out of Fijian pavilion with a smile on his face and continued to look for the next spiritual wood material to ignite the true fire. In this way, Yun Yongzhu walked from the beginning to the end of the magic weapon street in the south of the city and finally found the next spiritual wood of the right grade in the Yixin refining material shop. Shopkeeper Yixin, how much do you want for this piece of 1,000-year-old fire jujube wood? 130 spirit stones. Can't it be a little cheaper? Yun Yongzhu also knew that this 1,000-year-old fire jujube wood was quite precious, but he still wanted it to be cheaper. Dao, my price is already very fair, no bargaining. Seeing that there was no room for negotiation, Yun Yongzhu had to take out the spirit stones. But he was still very happy in his heart, because the fire and wood energy in this 1,000-year-old fire jujube wood were very balanced, which was very consistent with the wood burning technique he practiced. Chapter 173 Ignite the True Fire. Yun Yongzhu spent about 2 hours strolling around the magic treasure street in the southern area of Xianyuan City, and finally bought all the fire attribute spiritual wood he needed. Xianyuan City is the largest immortal cultivation city near Qingshan sect, so there is naturally a store called Wanbao Pavilion. The sign of Wanbao Pavilion is very eye-catching, and Yun Yongzhu went straight to Wanbao Pavilion, ready to dispose of his gains in Zuanshan secret realm there. After entering Wanbao Pavilion, he did not reveal his identity, but after learning the approximate value of the items he was going to deal with, the clerk called a shopkeeper in the late stage of foundation building to receive him. Yun Yongzhu did not waste time with the shopkeeper, and after a few words, he took out the monster materials piled up in the storage bag one by one. It took an incense stick of time for the shopkeeper to sort out all the monster materials and give a quote. 6,000. Yun Yongzhu murmured in his heart. This price was quite different from his estimated price. However, he thought that his monster materials were both numerous and diverse, and it would be too time consuming and troublesome to sell them one by one. After hesitating for a moment, he nodded and agreed to the shopkeeper's offer, and left with 6,000 spirit stones. Yun Yongzhu did not clear out all the harvest, and left 5 relatively rare and precious demon beast inner pills and several demon beast materials. He walked quickly to the outside of Xianyuan City. He wanted to return to the cave he rented in Sifeng Mountain as soon as possible, and then quickly ignite the true fire. Because they would stay here for the next month, Yun Yongzhu certainly would not spend it in vain. This true fire can not only be used to refine pills, but also to defend against enemies. It can be foreseen that with the 3rd level lower grade Fenkatong, as well as the 2nd level upper grade spirit wood fire fir wood and 1000-year-old fire jujube wood, that he just got today as the fuse for igniting the true fire, the power of the Danshan true fire he ignited should be very good. Yun Yongzhu walked for an incense stick of time before he walked out of the restricted air range of Xianyuan City. As soon as he came out, he immediately forced a drop of blood from his fingertips and performed the bloodline tracking technique. This is a small magic that Yun Yongzhu has learned in the sect over the years. It can find blood relatives within 1,000 miles. Using this magic formula in this situation is very practical. As Yun Yongzhu performed the magic formula, the drop of blood flew quickly to where Yun Daichin and the others were. Yun Yongzhu quickly sacrificed the flowing light wings to follow. The drop of blood quickly led the way, while shrinking in size at a speed visible to the naked eye. Yun Yongzhu followed it for only a quarter of an hour before he saw the phantom of the cave he had seen when he rented the cave before. He sent a sound transmission note into it, and soon the protective light curtain of the cave cracked, and Yun Yongzhu took the opportunity to get in. Entering the courtyard, the 2 brothers Yun Zuxuan were leisurely drinking tea and reading books inside. 9 great-grandfather. 25th great-grandfather. Little 9, why have you stayed in Xianyuan City for so long? Have you collected all the spiritual wood? Xianyuan City couldn't be safer, and they were not worried about Yun Yongzhu's safety. Yun Zuxuan and others also knew that Yun Yongzhu was collecting the spiritual woods for igniting the true fire, but they could not help much. Replying to the 2 great-grandfathers, the spiritual woods have been collected. That's good. When will the true fire be ignited? Do you want us to protect you? The 2 were worried that Yun Yongzhu would be in danger when igniting the true fire. Thank you for your concern. The child's method to ignite the true fire is very simple. There will be no accidents. I won't bother you 2. The child will go to ignite the true fire later. By the way, where are my parents? Chenna and his wife are practicing magic in the practice room, so you don't have to disturb them. The room on the right is reserved for you. The wing rooms on the left and right sides of the room are arranged as a spirit beast room and an alchemy room respectively. The practice room is under the bedroom in the middle. Go ahead. Yun Yongzhu couldn't wait to go to that room. He didn't go into the bedroom first, but went into the spirit beast room instead. Yun Yongzhu hadn't fed the 2 spirit pets for more than a month, and they were probably going to rebel. Sure enough, as soon as Yun Yongzhu released them from the spirit beast bag, a cicada and a butterfly circled around him quickly, expressing their dissatisfaction. Xiajin, Wuke, I didn't forget you, but your master has been building his foundation recently. You can see that I'm not lying if you look at my cultivation. After Yun Yongzhu explained and comforted them, the soul-devouring golden cicada and the soul-seeking butterfly finally calmed down. Yun Yongzhu hurriedly served them their food. After serving the 2 little things, Yun Yongzhu did not put them into the spirit beast bag anymore, and let them play in the spirit beast room. After all, there is not only spiritual energy outside, which allows them to practice, but also a lot of space, and the environment is much better than the quiet spirit beast bag. After closing the spirit beast room, Yun Yongzhu entered the middle room. There is a small hall inside, and the bedroom is deeper inside. Yun Yongzhu did not look at the exquisite furnishings inside, and found the entrance to the practice room in the innermost corner. As soon as he entered the practice room, Yun Yongzhu felt that the concentration of spiritual energy around him increased by more than 10 times in an instant. If it was just a first grade upper grade spiritual vein, the concentration of spiritual energy would not be so high. It seems that, as the steward Wang said, there is a spiritual gathering array in the cave, right in this practice room. No wonder the rental fee of this cave is so expensive. You should know that this cave has a total of 5 rooms, which means there are 5 practice rooms, which means there are 5 spiritual gathering arrays. This spiritual gathering array is not the reduced version of the small single-person spiritual gathering array that Yun Yongzhu saw a long time ago. It is a real first-grade upper-grade spiritual gathering array. With its assistance, even if a foundation building cultivator practices here, it is not much worse than practicing on a second-grade lower-grade spiritual vein. Yun Yongzhu sat cross-legged on the futon in the practice room, took out the fire fir wood, 1000-year-old fire jujube wood, and the phoenix tongue tree given by the master, which he bought at a high price, and placed them in front of him one by one. The method of igniting the real fire in the burning wood art is very simple. The first step is not much different from the usual practice, but it is to change the absorbed spiritual energy into the fire and wood energy contained in these 3 spiritual woods. Among the 3 fire attributed spiritual woods, the firewood has a slightly lower fire energy. In order to reduce the consumption of spiritual consciousness, Yun Yongzhu first picked it up and placed it on his legs, close to his lower abdomen, and then practiced the first level of the foundation building chapter of burning wood technique. As the practice was running, the fire energy in the firewood slowly flowed directly into Yun Yongzhu's danshan, without passing through the meridians. That is, it was not refined. It cannot be refined. This is also the biggest difference between igniting the true fire and practicing. As we all know, practicing is the process of absorbing spiritual energy and refining spiritual energy for one's own cultivation. However, igniting the true fire is to absorb the energy contained in the spiritual wood directly into the danshan. When the several streams of energy in the danshan meet and merge, after friction, the internal fire will naturally be generated and form the true fire. Yun Yongzhu used his powerful spiritual consciousness to isolate the fire energy. Just like the separated eggs, the egg white and the egg yolk do not mix with each other. Not only that, he also separated the spiritual wood energy from the spiritual energy liquid at the bottom of his danshan. Half an hour later, the fire fir wood between his legs seemed to have gone through thousands of years. After Yun Yongzhu absorbed the last trace of wood and fire energy in it, it turned into ashes. He ignored it and picked up the 1000-year-old fire jujube wood, placed it between his legs, and began another round of absorption. Just like that, another half an hour passed, and the 1000-year-old fire jujube wood also turned into ashes. Then it was the turn of the phoenix tongue. Unlike the previous 2 spiritual woods, this phoenix tongue has reached the 3rd grade lower grade, so the wood and fire energy in it is very strong. Not only that, the intensity of the wood and fire energy of this phoenix tongue is also extraordinary. The wood energy is okay, it is gentle by nature, and contains a little healing effect. However, the fire energy is born with a burning feeling, and it will hurt yourself if you are not careful, which makes Yun Yongzhu very careful. Fortunately, Yun Yongzhu's spiritual awareness is far superior to that of the cultivators of the same level, otherwise he can only use 3 second grade upper grade fire attribute spiritual woods to ignite the true fire. After an hour of hard work, Yun Yongzhu finally absorbed all the wood and fire energy in Fenkitang into his danshan. Absorbing the wood and fire energy of the spiritual wood is the simplest and safest step. The cultivator only needs to carefully control his spiritual consciousness. At this time, in Yun Yongzhu's danshan, above the bean-sized drop of spiritual energy liquid he cultivated, a red and green ocean of wood and fire energy formed. As for the spiritual weapon Chiyu Fan given by his master, it has been quietly staying next to the spiritual energy liquid, receiving the nourishment of spiritual energy. Yun Yongzhu's spiritual power has been consumed by more than half at this time. Firstly, the amount of these wood and fire energy is too much, and there is also the addition of the third level spiritual wood energy. Secondly, because this spiritual wood energy has left the body of the spiritual wood, it has nothing to rely on and spreads everywhere in Yun Yongzhu's danshan, and he has to divide a part of his spiritual power to protect the inner wall of his danshan. Thirdly, the wood and fire ki were interdependent when they emerged from the spirit wood. Now that they were forcibly separated, they were both impacting Yun Yongzhu's transparent and invisible spiritual sense barrier. Yun Yongzhu did not dare to waste time. After Fenkitan disappeared, he quickly turned the spiritual sense attached to the inner wall of danshan around to wrap the wood and fire ki, forming a huge sphere. Then he shrank the half red and half green wood and fireball until it could no longer be suppressed by his spiritual sense. Although this process only took 2 breaths, it consumed more than half of Yun Yongzhu's remaining half of his spiritual sense. Then Yun Yongzhu took back the spiritual sense in the middle of the wooden fireball that had shrunk many times, and then wrapped the wooden fireball with all his spiritual sense power. At the moment, when Yun Yongzhu eliminated the spiritual sense barrier between the wood and fire ki, the wood and fire ki collided violently with each other. And it was precisely because Yun Yongzhu used his spiritual consciousness to wrap the ball of wood and fire, which reduced the space between the two, that the conflict between the two became more intense. And this was Yun Yongzhu's purpose. At the moment when the wood energy and the fire energy collided, the two accidentally fired, and a spark was generated in the center of the sphere. After Yun Yongzhu took back the spiritual consciousness in the middle of the wood and fire energy, he kept an eye on the changes inside. Seeing that a spark appeared smoothly inside, he quickly used his remaining little spiritual consciousness to suppress the ball of wood and fire. Sure enough, in this thought, like adding fuel to the fire, the small spark ignited all of a sudden, becoming a spiritual flame with a faint green halo, becoming the inner fire, that is, Yun Yongzhu's true fire. It's a long story. In fact, from Yun Yongzhu wrapping the wood and fire energy into a ball, to extracting the spiritual consciousness in the middle of the wood and fire energy, and then to the true fire igniting, the time passed was less than a breath. The process of igniting the true fire is like this, absorbing the wood and fire energy of the spiritual wood, and then waiting for it to spontaneously combust. It sounds so simple, but it is not simple at all. All this requires a cultivator to have a correct understanding of the power of his own spiritual consciousness. It also requires a cultivator to be able to command his own spiritual consciousness freely, neither using a little more and wasting power, nor using a little less and being hurt by the wood and fire energy. It is even more important not to let the wood and fire energy meet in advance, otherwise it will fail and waste the spiritual wood and third level Fenkitang purchased with these 240 spiritual stones. This problem is also often encountered by foundation building cultivators when igniting the true fire. Once failed, they can only spend spiritual stones again to buy spiritual objects to ignite the true fire. If you accidentally get injured during the failure process, you have to spend time and spiritual stones to heal your injuries. Speaking of it, the cultivation system of cultivators is actually all learned from spiritual plants, monsters, and nature. Because humans have wisdom, they have become the protagonists of this Zeuxan continent. Just like this method of igniting the true fire, it is actually learned by ancient cultivators from the spiritual wood with dual attributes of wood and fire. After this kind of spiritual wood has grown for 10,000 years, if by chance, the two attributes of wood energy and the spiritual wood are completely separated and suddenly collide, there is a 1 in 10 million chance of producing strange fire. This is the origin of most wood heart fires. However, the wood heart fire of this 10,000-year-old spiritual wood is 1,000 times, 10,000 times better than the true fire that Yun Yongzhu ignited himself. No matter how low level this spiritual wood is, once it successfully passes through 10,000 years, it will be upgraded to a 4th level spiritual wood. The power of the wood heart fire produced by the 4th level spiritual wood is a few points stronger than the infant fire of some Yuanian cultivators, not to mention the true fire of foundation building cultivators. As long as Yun Yongzhu remembered that he had given up the wood heart fire in the treasure house of the Danlian Peak Alchemy Hall, he would sincerely admire his own rationality. He looked inward at the light green flame in the center of his danshan, and took back all the remaining consciousness into his sea of consciousness. Opening his eyes, Yun Yongzhu wiped the cold sweat that had come out of his body due to excessive consumption of spiritual consciousness. Then he simply cast a cleansing technique on himself and changed his clothes. After packing himself up, Yun Yongzhu left the practice room, found Yun Zuxuan and the others, and told them the news that he had successfully ignited the true fire. Yun Yongzhu did not communicate much with his great-grandfather and the others. He told them that he wanted to rest and then returned to the bedroom, lay on the bed, and fell asleep. It was not until the next morning that Yun Yongzhu woke up refreshed and full of energy again. I haven't slept so comfortably for a long time, Yun Yongzhu muttered to himself while lying on the bed made of the first grade inferior spiritual wood. Suddenly, he smelled a faint floral scent and looked at the source of the scent. It turned out to be a pot of agarwood flowers on the windowsill. It turned out that it was because of this that he could sleep so well. Agarwood flowers are also a kind of spiritual medicine material. They can be refined into agarwood pills, which have the effect of helping sleep. It is also an important auxiliary material for many kinds of pills such as concentration and meditation. However, this agarwood flower has just bloomed for the first time, and its medicinal effect is not yet at the stage where it can be used as medicine. When Yun Yongzhu entered the bedroom yesterday, he was only concerned about entering the practice room and lighting the true fire, and he didn't notice the agarwood flower on the windowsill at all. Yun Yongzhu remembered that he had already lit the true fire yesterday, and he couldn't help but feel happy. A month in this Xianyuan city can't be wasted. Yun Yongzhu plans to buy some first-level elixir alchemy materials to practice. In addition, Yun Yongzhu also wants to study the recipes for the Jiling pill and the Muan pill given to him by his master Huang Chengsheng. However, now he just wants to try the power of this true fire. Yun Yongzhu got up from the bed, stuffed a piece of toothgrass into his mouth and chewed it, and quickly put on his clothes. After he was dressed, he spit out the toothgrass, threw a small water bowl on his face, and after cleaning it with the cleansing technique, he left the bedroom and went to find Yun Zuxuan and the others. Chapter 174 Warm Daily Life. As soon as Yun Yongzhu left the house, he was discovered by Yun Zuxuan in the courtyard. Xiaojiu, you're up. How is your consciousness recovering? Grandfather Jiu, I've recovered completely. That's good. You don't look as listless as yesterday. You must be much better. I thought you were going to sleep for 3 days and 3 nights. Yun Yongzhu thought he would sleep a few more days yesterday, so he went out to talk to the 2 great-grandfathers. Unexpectedly, he recovered in just half a day and 1 night. At this time, 2 more doors opened, and it was Yun Zuxuan and Yun Daichen. 25th great-grandfather, Dad, good morning. Yun Yongzhu bowed and said, Nineth grandfather, 25th grandfather, good morning. Yun Daichen bowed and greeted. It is said that this kind of greeting words first came from Yun Yongzhu's mouth, and now it has become popular in Yunwu Mountain and Biomio Peak. We are family, so there is no need to be so polite. By the way, Chenna, where is your wife? Replying to Grandpa 25, Lua seems to have gone to prepare breakfast. Yes, Chenna's wife has been busy in the kitchen since early in the morning. Speak of the devil, and the devil will appear. Grandpa 25, Grandpa 9, Brother Chen, Zua, I have prepared breakfast. Let's all go to the dining hall to eat. The dining hall is in a room not far from the kitchen. It is spacious and bright, with a large round table. As the few people followed Yang Liu into the dining hall, they saw a table full of food. There was everything from spiritual rice porridge, spiritual rice cakes, spiritual egg custard, spiritual cakes, etc. The few people sat down one by one. Lila, I didn't expect you to have such a skill. Grandpa Jiu, I just made it randomly. It's okay if you eat it. Yang Liu learned a little bit from Yun Yongzhu in Yunwu Mountain. Although the food she made can't be called spiritual food, it is much better than ordinary food. At least the raw materials are spiritual plants, spiritual eggs, and monster meat that contain spiritual energy. Eating them will only benefit cultivation and not harm it. Mom, these 2 dishes are delicacies made with black gastrodia and purple ginseng, right? Zua's eyes are really sharp. They are made with black gastrodia and purple ginseng. Didn't you always say that there were no spiritual vegetables to eat when you were at home? This is what I successfully developed after more than 10 years of research. This is the first time I make it for you. Come and try it. Because spiritual vegetable seeds are rare, it is more cumbersome to take care of than spiritual rice, and it wastes spiritual fields and land, so no one in the entire Yunzhou will plant them. So Yang Liu started with spiritual medicine. Originally, she had no idea at all. Later, with the help of Yun Yongzhu, she successfully developed a method to make these two spiritual herbs into spiritual food. Unfortunately, she did not know Yun Yongzhu's special skills as a spiritual chef. Although the spiritual food she made tasted delicious, the spiritual energy in the spiritual herbs was greatly depleted, leaving only a little. So it's a meal made from spiritual herbs. I was wondering, when you went to buy spiritual vegetables. Lila, you are really amazing. Yun Yongzhu said in surprise. It can't be called spiritual food, but it's edible. Yun Yongzhu took the black gastrodiarrhea that Yang Liu picked up with a serving chopstick, and his heart was filled with mixed feelings, both moved and sad. He did not expect that his mother would remember what he said when he was a child for so many years. Yun Yongzhu took a bite and his eyes lit up. This black gastrodiarrhea was not bitter or astringent at all. It was sweet, sticky, and juicy, and contained a little spiritual energy. Mom, it's delicious. Seeing her son say it was delicious, Yang Liu was very happy. It was worth her years of research. After tasting the dishes, Yun Yongzhu and Yun Yongzhu praised her cooking skills. As for Yun Daichen, he had already tasted them, and was a veteran. He was already impressed by the two dishes. Lila, if you can preserve the spiritual energy in these ingredients, you can open a spiritual restaurant in Yunwu town. I can't do that. Without the inheritance of a spiritual chef, I can't support a spiritual restaurant. I'm afraid that Grandpa Jiu doesn't know that a younger generation in the clan has opened a small restaurant in Yunwu town. Oh, who is it? Why haven't I heard of it? The Yun Yongzhu brothers were a little confused. They usually didn't care about the family affairs and practiced. So Yang Liu told the story. It turned out that Yun Yongzhu had been sending pills back to the family for many years, and Yun Yongzhu had specially ordered people to brew a non-toxic spiritual fruit wine. So gradually many casual cultivators settled in the Yunwu mountains, and even built caves near the town. And there were more and more of them, and they had no intention of leaving. Even some small families that were not too far away had the idea of moving to the Yunwu mountains. This led to more and more cultivators coming and going in the small market of Yunwu town. With the cultivators, Yun Yongzhu, a descendant of the family, had the idea of building a restaurant at the foot of the mountain. Finally, 3 years ago, Yun Yongzhu implemented her idea. Xiaoshi's restaurant business is not bad. Now the spiritual stones she earns every month have exceeded her monthly salary. Before we came to Qingshan sect, I heard that she had just been promoted to the middle stage of key training. Yun Yongzhu had long guessed that the person who opened the restaurant was Yun Yongzhu, and he was very happy to hear that she had broken through the realm. Whose family is Xiaoshi from? It's a clan member whose spiritual roots were detected at the foot of the mountain. Then several people discussed the arrangements for the next month. Jiu, how do you plan to spend this month? The one who asked the question was Yun Yongzhu. According to his original idea, when he rented the cave in Sifan Mountain, he would practice here for a month, and when the time came, he would go to Xianyuan City to participate in the auction. But then Yun Yongzhu went to buy fire-attributed spiritual wood, interrupting his original thoughts. Yun Yongzhu ignited the true fire, and it was very likely that he would refine pills. So he wanted to know Yun Yongzhu's specific arrangements, so that he could adjust his own arrangements. The other three were also waiting for Yun Yongzhu's answer. Grandfathers, I don't plan to spend this month in cultivation. Before leaving the sect, Master gave me 2 pill recipes. I'll just think about it and see if I can refine them. Also, in order to build my foundation, I haven't opened the furnace to refine pills for a long time. There happens to be an alchemy room in this cave, and I want to use it. I just ignited the true fire yesterday, and I haven't had time to try it out. Yun Yongzhu explained his plans for this month in detail. Xiaojiu, since you don't plan to practice, but to refine pills, why don't you give these refined pills to us to sell in Xianyuan City? Among the 4 people, Yun Yongzhu is probably the only one who doesn't lack spirit stones. Not long after he came out of seclusion, he received all the monthly allowances for more than 13 years of seclusion, a total of 15,800 spirit stones. The members of the Yunwu Mountain family who are in the key training period receive monthly allowances in 3 levels. In the early stage of key training, there are only 10 kilograms of first grade low grade spiritual rice. In the middle stage of key training, in addition to 10 kilograms of first grade medium grade spiritual rice, there is also a spiritual stone and a family contribution point. The monthly allowance of the members of the late stage of key training is higher, and 10 kilograms of spiritual rice are exchanged for first grade high grade, 3 spiritual stones, and 3 contribution points. Of course, this is the general situation. For the younger generations who are focused on training, the family will naturally invest more resources, such as Yun Yongzhu and Yun Dabing who are focused on training in Yunwu Mountain. If the children of Yunwu Mountain succeed in building their foundation by chance, their monthly allowance will increase by about 10 times, 100 spiritual stones a month, and there will be no monthly allowance of spiritual rice and contribution points. Because if the family obtains precious spiritual objects, it will also give priority to the members of the foundation building period. After all, the people with the highest cultivation are the guarantee of a family, and they are the main reason why a family can prosper. Having said that, if Yun Yongzhu's more than 15,000 spiritual stones are used to purchase spiritual tools, they are not very durable. Yun Dachan and Yang Liu had just established their foundation, and their demand for cultivation resources increased by dozens of times. They didn't want to always rely on their eldest son and become a burden to him, like they did during the key training period. Of course, there are so many cultivators here, and the pills must be easy to sell. But the child can't refine second level pills yet, and the 2 great grandfathers and parents can only sell first level pills. Even if you can refine second level pills, you have to keep them for yourself. Only after you ensure your own cultivation, you can consider selling the pills. Chapter 175 1 month. Haha. Yes, Chenna is right, but this all depends on you, Xiaojiu. The 5 people happily finished all the meals prepared by Yang Liu. Then Yun Yongzhu came to the courtyard and released his inner fire to satisfy the curiosity of several elders. In fact, among the 4 of them, only Yang Liu did not practice a fire attributed technique. However, the fire cloud sutra technique of the family is just an ordinary fire attributed technique, and there is no way to ignite the true fire in it. High level techniques are generally controlled by big forces, which is one of the important reasons why the immortal cultivation families often send outstanding disciples from the family to large sects. Therefore, the only 2 foundation building cultivators in the family have never seen the appearance of true fire, and they are also very curious about it. Is this the inner fire? Why is it light green? Shouldn't it be red? Dad, the burning wood art I practice is mainly fire based, but it also has wood attributes. I don't know how powerful this inner fire is. Xiaojiu, I have a 2nd grade inferior black ironstone here. You can try to smelt it and see if it can melt. Yun Yongzhu followed Yun Yongzhu's instructions and controlled the black ironstone as big as a baby's fist with his spiritual sense, floating it in front of him. Then he moved his inner fire to the bottom of the black ironstone and calcined it. Half a quarter of an hour later, the black ironstone showed no signs of melting. Yun Yongzhu knew that even under the calcination of the earth fire, it would take at least 1 stick of incense to melt the 2nd grade inferior spiritual material. However, the power of Yun Yongzhu's inner fire has not yet been exerted. He already knew that with the temperature of this true fire itself, it would take at least 3/4 of an hour to take effect. So without waiting any longer, he injected his spiritual power into this external true fire. At this thought, the true fire under the black ironstone instantly jumped up. The scene was like pouring a bucket of oil on this spiritual flame. As the spiritual flame rose, the temperature of the true fire also rose a lot. Yun Yongzhu tried to increase and decrease the spiritual power he input. After the experiment of adding and subtracting spiritual power, he finally skillfully used his own true fire. Next, Yun Yongzhu madly input his spiritual power into the true fire. At this time, the black ironstone on the true fire melted rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. In less than half an incense stick of time, the whole piece of ore melted at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the impurities inside were annihilated in just a moment. Wow. This true fire is really powerful, much faster than the speed of smelting the earth fire. Yun Yongzhu and others were amazed. They didn't expect that the power of this foundation building true fire was so great. Amid the exclamations of several people, Yun Yongzhu tempered the fist-sized black ironstone and finally handed Yun Yongzhu a piece of black iron essence the size of a fingernail. It is so powerful against black ironstone. If it is used against the enemy, the damage will increase exponentially. After the few people were amazed, Yun Yongzhu went back to his room to comprehend the pill formula as agreed. During breakfast, the few people had already agreed that in the next month, the four of them would be divided into two groups to buy alchemy materials and sell pills. Yun Yongzhu only needed to stay in the cave to refine pills and comprehend the pill formula. It was really a good choice to rent a cave here. Although it is not in the city, it is very close to Xianyuan city, and it is very convenient to travel. Yun Dachan and his wife quickly bought the pill materials for the Kijudan. As soon as Yun Yongzhu got the materials for alchemy, he went to the alchemy room. As an alchemist, he hasn't touched the alchemy furnace for a long time, and he is already looking forward to using true fire to refine pills. Dad, you are also a first level lower grade alchemist now. Why don't you stay and take a look? Maybe there will be any inspiration. Yun Dachan certainly wanted it. Then the father and son quickly sorted out the materials for refining a key gathering pill. After sorting them out, Yun Dachan stood aside and carefully watched his son use the true fire to refine the pill for the first time. Yun Yongzhu did not use the purple gold furnace given to him by his master Huang Chengsheng, but used the 9-dragon cauldron that he was familiar with. He put the true fire into the 9-dragon cauldron and began to warm the furnace. This is the difference between refining pills with internal fire and refining pills with external fire. Usually, whether it is using ground fire or the spiritual flame ignited by spiritual wood, the fire and the pill materials are separated by the furnace wall of the alchemy furnace. But the true fire is different, because this true fire is like the cultivator's own limbs, and the cultivator can command it freely and send and receive it at will. In addition, Yun Yongzhu's soul is powerful, and his spiritual power is far beyond that of cultivators of the same level. Therefore, when refining pills and refining tools with true fire, you can directly contact the materials. This true fire is indeed different from external fire. Relying on his powerful spiritual sense, Yun Yongzhu can sense the slightest changes in the spiritual medicine and the liquid medicine at any time when melting and tempering the spiritual medicine. In less than an hour, this furnace of elixirs has reached the stage of condensing and collecting the elixir. Without the slightest pause or hesitation, Yun Yongzhu's magic formula was pinched out like flowing water and hit into the 9-dragon cauldron. As soon as the lid of the furnace was opened, a fragrant fragrance came out from inside. The elixir was refined. Yun Yongzhu watched 8 pills fly into the jade bottle in a row. Although this key gathering pill was simple for him before, his cultivation was insufficient. At that time, it took Yun Yongzhu at least 1.5 hours to refine a furnace, but now, it can be refined in less than an hour. Before he built his foundation, he refined key gathering pills, and the number of successful pills was generally 5 or 6, and the highest record was only 7. Now, he can easily open the furnace and produce 8 pills, and the success rate has reached 50%. Yun Yongzhu carefully identified 3 top-grade pills, 3 mid-grade pills, and 2 low-grade pills. This was the first time he had refined 8 key gathering pills, and Yun Yongzhu's joy was almost beyond words, his face full of joy. Dad, did you see that? My success rate has reached 50%. Yun Dachan was watching from the side, and he was also full of joy and shock. Because he also knows how to refine pills, he knows how difficult it is to increase the success rate of pill refining. I didn't expect that the improvement of your cultivation level would be so helpful to your alchemy skills. I guess it is partly due to this true fire. What Father Yun said made sense. The reason why Yun Yongzhu's success rate reached 50% was actually related to his cultivation level in this true fire. However, Yun Yongzhu only used basic alchemy this time, and did not use the 9-turn alchemy art. If the 9-turn golden pill art was used, the success rate might not change, but the quality of the pills would increase. Because this was the first time he opened the furnace, after building his foundation, and because his father was watching, and because of the blood oath he had made, and the blood contract he had signed with the sect, he did not use the 9-turn alchemy art. He knew this in his heart. When he used the 9-turn alchemy art to refine pills in the future, he would know his current level of alchemy. The two were happy for a while before slowly controlling their emotions. Yun Yongzhu continued to refine his next batch of pills, and Yun Dachen helped him to prepare and organize the spiritual medicine materials in advance. In Xianyuan City, at the Sangxiu market, the Yun Zuxuan brothers sat cross-legged beside a stall, chatting with each other through voice transmission. Brother Jiu, this month has passed so quickly. The pills made by Xiao Jiu are so easy to sell. I really want to keep selling them. You are dreaming. How can Xiao Jiu keep making pills for us to sell? That would delay his cultivation. This is a loss of the greater for the less. I know, I'm just talking. There are more and more people in Xianyuan City recently. It seems that the auction will start soon. Yeah, it's a good thing we came early. I heard that many inns and caves are full of people, and the prices have also risen a bit. Well, we won't come again after this batch of pills is sold out. I feel like someone has already targeted us, but unfortunately I can't find out who it is. Pills, talismans and magic tools were placed in front of them. There were only 5 bottles of pills left, all made by Yun Yongzhu. The talismans were drawn by Yang Liu, who was a first-class upper-grade talisman master, and had not been idle this month. The magic tools were made by Yun Zuxuan, who was a first-class upper-grade weapon refiner. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.